Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
James Farley.
Hello.
And no Sean Bell. But it's alright, we got another Sean. Sean Labode is back on the show.
What's up, boys?
Hello, Sean.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Sean?
Good. I've been looking forward to hopefully coming back, and now you guys have me back. Because, to be honest, I haven't had a chat with yourself, David, and that was the final piece.
That's fun, isn't it? I do feel sorry for guests that are like, yeah, I'll come on the computer game show, and then it gets close and they go, oh, David's not on this one. They're like, oh, I should have said no and waited until he was back. Did you feel? Is that how it feels?
Never happened.
Yeah. I think it happens all the time, man.
I'm actually more enthusiastic. Oh my god, thank God.
Is that why it's usually me that's off? Because no one cares?
No, are you kidding me? You're everyone's favourite. You know you're everyone's favourite, and you try and act like you're not. But you know, like when it comes to the teams, when we sort out teams for the Laser Quest, you know everyone's going to want to be on Team James.
Oh yeah,
like that's just a given.
I've made a terrible mistake with the news, actually. We'll get to that in a minute.
What's that got to do with anything?
No, I feel really bad. I just realised it as we were talking, and then now I feel bad. Just go on, continue.
Wow,
it's irrelevant.
I have no idea what he's even talking about. This is good.
I have no idea what he's talking about either, but this is very intriguing.
It's not good.
Okay, right, okay, speaking of, before we go to the Patreon producers, speaking of the Laser Quest and live show, TCGSCON is what we're calling it. Matt, we got some news. What's the latest?
Yeah, it's been cancelled. So, no. Too popular, baby. No, we've actually got... We've
the police shut us down. Yeah, the authorities did not want us there.
Oh yeah, no. We have talked to the powers that be, and we've got an extra allocation of tickets. So if you missed out on the first wave of tickets, then there's some more available this Friday morning from 9 a.m. on tcgs.co/TCGSCon. There will be another small selection of tickets available. So if you missed out first time round, get there for 9 a.m. this Friday morning. On the TCGSCO website. Limited.
Get there quick. It's very limited. It's going to be very exciting. Sean, do you know if you're coming yet or not? Because it was you weren't 100%.
Yeah. So unfortunately, due to COVID, all of the summer kind of London Pride events have been cancelled. And
really, this year? There's no Pride this year.
Well, previous 2 years, and
I see.
And the one they've planned for this year happens to be on the same kind of Saturday, and I don't know if, with the restrictions being lifted again, we're probably going to have like another round of just isolation and lockdown. So I did get myself a ticket, I did get myself a hotel, and I also am provisionally going to, it depends on what happens in the UK. Either way, I don't know. I don't want to commit and then let anyone down yet. But I have a ticket.
Well, you're already letting me down by not saying of course I'm there. Of course I'm there. So I'm already pretty upset. See, someone want to tell the people that organise Pride and say, look, you are clashing with TCGS.
Yeah, that's incredibly poor planning.
Incredibly poor. The other weeks that are free.
It's that and Adele, isn't it? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Beg your pardon?
Adele as well is also apparently doing the same thing as well on that weekend.
Yeah, on the same evening, yeah.
So,
what do you mean the same thing? Adele's doing a live show after Laser Quest.
She's not doing Laser Quest, no, but there is a live show.
She's not doing Laser Quest. The tickets are way more expensive as well.
Yeah, so it's way more expensive, and there's no Laser Quest, so forget about the value.
What's the point?
Why would you bother?
Yeah? Matt can sing some Adele. We'll get Matt to sing some Adele on the thing.
Yeah. I love Chasing Pavements.
What's your favourite, Matt? Hello. You could do that.
No, it is probably Chasing Pavements, probably from her first album.
The very first.
And maybe we swap out between songs and I'll just do the common speaking bit. Oh, hello, everyone. I'll just come and then we switch back to you and you do the singing bit, Matt. What do you reckon?
That sounds like a match made in heaven. I can't see any reason why that would go wrong. But also, this is we're not going to add any more tickets once this bunch has gone. So this is ready. Yeah. This is very much it. So
last chance.
Be there or be
last
square.
Chance. Here to see the special man. Right, we'd like to announce our Patreon producers for this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Happy Birthday Sam and Neil, Gabsy Wabsy, Rocketman76, Rex Reese, Happy New Year, Sam, love from Neil, Grey Dragon Claw, Fred Fenge, Sensible Steve Garrett, Lloydie B93, Smooth Monk, and Farley's Sexy Fan. They're the Full Nels crew. They are the Full Nels crew. They went full Nelson, you can do too. That rhymes. Patreon.com/TCGS if you want to join us over there. Various different tiers, aren't there, Matt? We got bonus shows. We got live talks overs. And we got the Full Nels crew. So come and support the show. It really helps us move. It helps us out. It keeps the lights on. It helps James Farley fix lights in his bathrooms, doesn't it? Eh?
It does.
Yeah. It's got a light in that bathroom now.
No expense spared. I saw the picture. Literally no expense spared.
Yeah.
That was that. How much was that bulb?
I've got a feeling that like when he finally turned that light on, he goes, "Oh, I've been shitting in the wrong part of the room for the past 4 months." It's just like a big pile of it in the corner.
It's a wardrobe. I thought.
It's fine. I told you I had a torch. It was all right.
But is it waterproof yet?
There was a torch on a bit of string. It's fine.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's the point. It's a torch on a string.
There was a torch on a bit of string.
What, did you hang it down like from the ceiling?
Yeah. Yes.
Like you were in a tent in the Cub Scouts.
Well, yeah, because it there's more light dispersal then if you did that.
There's more light dispersal. Fucking hell. Romantic. Okay, so before we get to your feedback on last week's show, James, I'm desperate to know, what are your notes like? What are your notes looking like for last week's show? You really enjoy it, did you?
I did really enjoy the show. I mean, so much so that I was just like listening to it. I was like, I can't stop. I can't like do anything else while I'm listening to this.
Did you?
So
forget write down the notes, did you?
I didn't do any, no.
Did you listen to the show?
You forgot, didn't you?
No, I didn't forget.
Did you listen to the show?
I just was like, this is good.
Did you listen to the show?
And yeah.
Did you listen to the
I did listen to the show, yes. I did listen to
Prove
the show.
it.
Yeah.
There was one bit I remember, but then you see, this is why I do wish that I had written something down now, because Sean said something that I'd said the week before and kind of palmed it off as his own. And
that's an accusation, James. You better have some evidence.
Yeah, I'll have to gather that for next
that.
week when Sean's back, and then I can do that. But yeah, definitely.
So the accusation, right, is that Sean has nicked one of your thoughts, and used it and passed it off as his own.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Wow.
I know. So and to be clear, he's talking about Sean Bell. Not Sean Labode. He's not talking about you, Sean.
He's not going straight in on the guest. He's like, you want
to
That's more your style, Matt. But
yeah, it's true, Matt. You have got previous for that.
No, that's fine.
So let me get this right. So next week you need to come with a full evidence. I want everything from you, and I'm saying this now, and I'm really making a point of it now because I'm not going to say it to you in the week, and I know we're going to get to next week and you'll forget. So I just want to make it very clear.
I'm going to go full Rafa Benitez. I'm going to be on here. I'm going to be like fact. And I'm going to read out all the stuff. You'll see.
Is that what Rafa Benitez does?
It was what he did, didn't he?
That's famously what he done. Yeah,
he did do that.
What,
yeah,
he went fact.
Yeah, he said fact.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he did this whole thing where he was trying to prove that Manchester United were like favoured or whatever in decisions, and he had this dossier that he like read out, and after every statement he said fact as well, and it was.
And that's what you'll be doing next week when you repeat the fact that Sean said, but then must have said it was his own and no one else's.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that as an arguing technique, though. Just like that, fact after. It's like it's so petty, isn't it? It's like
End
something
of
you do when
case
you're like
closed. 12. Sean, sorry, not Sean. James, how are you going to remember what he said? Are you going to listen to the whole show again?
Yeah. No. What also that means I'm going to have to listen to both shows as well, which is going to be. But no, I remember roughly where it was. It's fine. It was in the news, so it was in there.
Why are you dissing our own show?
What do you mean?
Like, why are you? Oh, I'm going to have to listen to both shows. Surely it's like, I get an excuse to listen to the greatest podcast on earth.
Have you seen how long these things are, Dave?
I have seen how long they are, James. I'm on them.
They're nearly 4 hours. It's like,
I hear you fucking moaning about how long they are while we're recording them.
Try editing them, James.
Sorry, Matt, what did you say?
I said try editing to... forget it, let's move on.
Okay, let's get some feedback, Matt. Let's hear what everyone else thought.
Last week we had feedback on feedback, and now we're going for the trifecta. This originated because about 4 months ago, David said he played a game called Gran Turismo Concept. Kurt Lewin a message saying, "Sorry, that doesn't exist." And we said, no, I think it probably does exist. Anyway, Kurt's back now to defend himself against the indefensible. This is Kurt Lewin. Feedback on Gran Turismo Concept. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to resort to being pedantic on 2 points. When I said there was no such game as Gran Turismo Concept, I was meaning on PS3, which is where Dave said was the last platform he played a GT game on. Also, to add further... I mean, do we want to comment on that?
Yeah, keep going.
Also, to add further pedanticness to my feedback, but this is what I've been driven to, pardon the pun, but the Gran Turismo Concept game on PlayStation 2, which was brought up, that is, well, there's a typo here, but that exists.
Matt, just read exactly what it says, please.
Okay, but the Gran Turismo Concept game on PlayStation 2, which was brought up, that is Shane. Which exists, but that's not its full title. It was called Gran Turismo Concept 2002 Tokyo Geneva. Hopefully I'm still welcome to the live show.
I was hoping it was called PlayStation 2. It was just a Gran Turismo game called Sean. Or sorry, Shane.
Shane. Look, first of all, Kurt, you're more than welcome at the live show. Don't worry about it. It's absolutely fine. I will be presenting you with a copy of Gran Turismo Concept at that live show, though. So that's definitely happening. But yeah, no, of course you're welcome. But also, I mean, this is the worst type of... No, actually, I didn't mean that. Yeah, you did. You didn't know Gran Turismo Concept existed. You came at me. You fell over. Just hold your hands up and go, yeah, I got that wrong. Don't say, actually, I was talking about on that specific platform, because that's not what you said.
He was talking about Shane, David. He was talking about Shane.
No, the difference is, David, you said Gran Turismo Concept, but there's no game called that. It's called Gran Turismo Concept 2002 Tokyo Geneva. So they're clearly very different things. There is no game called Gran Turismo Concept. Fact. Right? Fact. It's called Gran Turismo Concept 2002 Tokyo Geneva. Right?
I'll tell you what's mad, though. I remember playing that game.
So what game's this? Concept
Gran
or
Turismo,
Concept 2002 Tokyo Geneva?
2002 Tokyo Geneva. But there's
Shame.
Weren't there like different versions? Anyway, I can't believe that was a PS2 game. Like, I thought it was way more recent than that. My brain, honestly, time is just gone now. Especially with when Gran Turismo's involved. It's just completely gone. Yeah, weird to read that was a PlayStation 2 game.
I mean, I was going to mention the fact you may have played the HD version, which did come out on PS3, but I don't want to muddy the waters anymore.
Well, there's a HD version of the concept game.
Yes, on PS.
Possibly then.
I don't want to.
I think, actually, just having a look at the Wikipedia page for this, I think that Kurt might be wrong.
Yeah,
actually.
It's not on PS2.
You think?
Again.
You fucking think?
Go on.
Go on.
Well, we looked at the Wikipedia last week.
It is on PS2, right? But there's actually 3 versions of the game, and they're not all called like 2002 Tokyo Geneva. It is just called Gran Turismo Concept, and then there's 3 versions, and each version is a different place or whatever. Right.
So, I mean, I'm hoping Kurt emails in next week and just goes, yeah, I'm sorry about the Gran Turismo stuff. Please continue with the show. Please continue with the show. Should we get on to the next bit of feedback?
Does the Wikipedia mention Shane?
No, it doesn't, unfortunately. I'm just scanning through, but I can't see the word Shane anywhere.
No, don't scan through. Was it Control F? Type Shane in.
While James is doing that, we'll move on to Garrus and Savannah. Regarding last week's news on the itch.io bundle, surely Eurogamer could have covered themselves by saying there were a few hundred things in the bundle, since apparently this number covers everything up to, possibly exceeding 1,000 according to MatLogic.
It's so true. Sean, what did you make of this? Were you on our side or Matt's side with this one?
There's just so much more pedanticness, isn't there?
Yeah, but this is what we're about. Yeah. This is where we thrive. This is where we thrive.
Remind me, it was something like there was 99 games and Matt said, was it 100?
No, there's 998.
No, 998, and he said, it's games. Like, surely the bigger thing here is what it's for. I'm with Matt on this one.
Yes, here we
that
go.
wasn't the argument, was it, Matt?
No, case closed. Fact.
No, the
Fact.
argument was we were
Shane.
talking about how much something costs, wasn't it? And you said
No.
something
Okay.
that was £800 was a few hundred or something.
Was this
Go on.
last week this happened?
Or the week before, I can't remember. Go on, Matt, what was the argument?
Well, yeah. So after we got over the whole 998 games, I think a few hundred can be anything up to like 800 or 900 quid.
No.
I don't think a few is just like three or four.
300 or 400 maximum. No, you wouldn't go. You wouldn't say £900 is a few £100.
I think I probably would, but because I think a few for me feels like a lot. It's like a few is like it's a larger number.
I do remember this discussion, and this is where we worked out that this is because whenever Matt is justifying a purchase, he says it's a few hundred.
Yeah, that's right. So Sean,
Yes.
So if someone was to say to you something costs a few £100,
Yeah.
what figure have you got in your head?
Less than 500.
Yeah, less than 500. Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt.
That is a shame, that is, Sean.
I'm sorry.
That's a shame.
I backpedaled
You
there, Matt.
have wrecked this podcast within 15 minutes. That is very sad to see for a guest.
Can we should have a section of the show for where guests mug off Matt, because it's becoming a running theme now.
Guess my
It's becoming a running
think
theme.
we need to rethink our guest policy.
He's doing it again. He's having a go again.
I think Sean Labode is great. Let's move on.
Okay, all right.
okay.
Sarcasm. We go for that, are we, Matt?
Ooh.
Okay.
Highest form of Okay, Mr. Frog has messaged us regarding
Mr. Frog.
Mr. Frog. Let me start. No. So last week we talked about Super Mario World being in the US and why isn't it in Europe? Mr. Frog, Disneyland Europe was built in France because the French gave them loads of money. We spent 700 million for the dome, so I think we got the better deal there.
Is that the Millennium
The dome
Dome?
is all right,
Was the dome
Yeah,
only
it's all
700 million?
probably.
It's mad, isn't it?
They fucked it up, didn't they? And it wasn't even open in time for the Millennium, was it?
No.
Because
But
of the
then didn't they
Y2K
make
bug.
loads of it back because they sold it to O2? They sort of... Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Also, the Dome is a pretty good venue, especially if you got a hotel near there. That's pretty good. Dome's all right. Although it's in bits now, isn't it? Because that fucking storm.
It's fixed now. I live
Is it fixed?
Yeah, I live about 10 minutes from the Dome, and it was absolutely...
Did you chip in?
Yeah, no. I had my own...
Get on local, 15 quid each.
I had my own gazebo to fix that weekend anyway. But
right.
I did go to see the Batman 2 weeks ago, and it is fixed now, so it's fine.
Nice. I just imagine people like turning up with like old school shirts or whatever and draping it over the top. So that'll do, that'll help. But if everyone does this, that'll help. No, I like the Dome. What of that? Hey,
I don't think
would
I've
you make
ever
of that?
been. I like to. So
You've never been?
No, I don't think so. No.
What?
That's where I saw that infamous Jedward gig, Matthew. That's where I went to see
I'm
the
sorry?
Jedward.
Intentionally?
I told you about this. No, well, it's sort of. They were doing the
Accidentally.
X Factor Live tour, and my wife is obsessed with X.
Oh,
X
that
Factor,
one, yeah, I
so
do
she
remember
wanted
that,
to go to that. Yeah. Oh, I was there, boy. I was there. Don't you worry about that. I was there, cheering on Jedward.
Okay, we're going to end with Jimbo Jones. Sup, bros. I recently noticed that when James Farley starts his House of Ashes stream, he does it by walking over to an empty chair. Please keep this up. Please keep this trend up, because it really gives me an impression I'm attending one of Dr. Farley's famous lectures moments before he reaches the lectern.
James, do you want to talk about your streams? Because we mentioned it last week that you got absolutely hammered out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, so the first House of Ashes one, I drank, like, too much too quickly. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, it was about 45 minutes in, and I didn't know what was going on anymore.
Oh, I caught up with it this week.
But did you by the end of it when he was like, he was out of it completely?
It was the moment between him falling asleep, I say him, James, falling asleep, and then just, the bit at the end. It was great moments there.
What do you mean falling asleep?
There's a bit when James fell asleep. Didn't you remember?
No, there wasn't.
In the middle.
On the stream?
In the middle, on stream. Oh, you gotta
I
watch
did
it
those
back.
a bit, yeah.
What?
It was amazing. And everyone's trying to wake him up in the chat.
No.
Oh my god, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I did
James,
those a
you
little
didn't tell
bit.
us.
Well, of course I'm not going to tell you.
You fell asleep during the stream.
It was like halfway through as well.
How have people not been clipping this and sharing it with us?
No, that's what I've just been thinking. How is this the first
I'm
I've
sorry,
heard of this?
James. I thought everyone knew.
We have the worst viewers
Sean,
ever.
you're proper grass.
No,
you proper grassed him up.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
You got to his bosses. You got straight to his bosses and gone, oh, he's been sleeping on the job.
It was good content.
It does sound like good content, to be fair. James,
it's not a very good game, and it's just I was really tired, and and then I drank a lot of alcohol, and then nature did its job or whatever last night.
Nature did its job. What does that mean?
It means I just rested my eyes for a few minutes or whatever, you know.
And then what happened when you woke up? Did you think, oh fucking, what have I done?
No, I was just like, oh, just continue. They're still
totally
talking.
Fine with it. Totally fine with it,
because
James.
they were still talking. They were still talking on the screen. It was fine.
Still talking. What if you'd have... Oh, that would scare the life out of me, because what if, like, you fell asleep and then you woke up, like, 8 hours later to see that you're still streaming?
Someone did that a couple of years ago, didn't they? Like, they were famous. They started to become a meme just because they were streaming and they fell asleep on stream, and all of the chat just came on board, and he was getting subscriptions, he was getting follows, and it was the big thing. I wasn't saying that James was trying to aim for that, but someone has done that, and it got big, and it was popular. I'll check it out.
I know Ian, previous guest and friend of the show, Ian Lee, used to set up a camera just so people could just watch him sleep.
You do see a lot of people doing like sleep streams. It's quite...
Yeah, but the sleep stream stuff started with that, what's it, Ice Poseidon or whatever his name is, that used to do it where like you could donate to have like horrible things happen to him while he was sleeping.
No.
And I just thought that just sounds horrible.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
No, I mean, maybe we get James to do it, is what I'm saying. Think of the donations.
Well, it sounds like James is already halfway there.
No, I'm not doing that.
Yes, he is.
But
all he needs is a couple of Jaeger bombs.
It was partly because of this that the stream last week I didn't drink anything at all, and I think it was worse, honestly, than when I drank, because
James, I would argue there's a middle ground between falling asleep and not drinking at all.
Yeah, it's not stay sober or be paralytic. You know, it's not one or the other.
I know, but as I said, the first time I wasn't expecting that was going to happen, because I only just drank 2 cans of Red Bull and a load of Jägermeister, and I didn't think it was going to be that bad.
A load of Jägermeister. Right, okay. Is that it for the feedback?
That is, yes. If you want to leave us feedback, go to tcgs.co/deartcgs.
Here comes the news.
Yeah. So I've made a bit of a mistake.
Go on.
With the news. So, well, no, because it's the first news story.
Made it all up.
No. Well, not this time. So what it is so Microsoft had this indie showcase, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the mistake I made with this is that before we recorded, I was intending to watch the trailers for all of these, so I knew what they were. But I've only gone and forgotten, haven't I? And so...
You've only gone and forgotten to do the news research.
I don't know what any of these games are. I haven't got a clue what any of these are.
Here's your punishment. I'm going to name a title and you're going to describe the game.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, ready? Here we go. So the first one is Chinatown Detective Agency.
Are we thinking what
Describe
kind of game?
it. Don't read the thing. Just make it up. What do you think that game's about?
I think that it is a visual novel, and it's set in a detective agency in Chinatown.
Okay, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn.
Ooh.
Tricky one.
Go on.
It's a roguelike deck builder.
Roguelike deck builder. Okay, interesting. Okay, Floppy Knights.
What? Is that something to do with rabbits or something?
Okay, fine, we can do that. Okay, Taken from the Grave.
Okay, that's got to be. Is that like a battle royale thing with like zombies
no,
or something?
That's just one that I've completely made up.
Oh.
Right. Okay. So, did anyone actually watch the Xbox Indie Showcase, Matt? You must have been all over.
No, I didn't. I saw people talk about it. That's about it. And I've obviously seen a bunch of the big news. The big news being like Tunic and some other stuff we'll probably go on to. But
all right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll open up the thing and then I'll just read to you what it says.
No, don't do that. There's no point. Let's, Sean. Did anything stick out to you, Sean?
I watched it only because James put the link there. Or in the news. So as soon as that popped in, I was like, I better do my research. I feel like I'm dobbing you in again.
Is doing more work than us.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sure it's not supposed to be like that.
No. There was
anything...
The Floppy Knights, because, again, it's a roguelike deck builder. Funny enough, you got the right genre, but the wrong game. There's some really cool stuff in there. I mean, all things indie is amazing, but Flintlock looks amazing. Floppy Knights, and there's a few bits hasn't been mentioned, but I won't spoil it for you. I'll let you watch it yourself.
Cheers, thanks. We'll watch it later. I mean, the big news obviously was that Tunic was coming to. Look, I miss this. Like, you and Sean and Matt were chatting away in a WhatsApp group that day about how Tunic was supposed to be out, but it wasn't on the store anywhere. And all of this sort of stuff. So what was the deal?
Well, I kept on saying, because Sean was like, it's not on the store, where is it? And I kept on saying, it's going to be on Game Pass. It's definitely going to be on Game Pass, because there was the event that evening, and you're just thinking, if it's not on the store, it's going to be on Game Pass. And then it was on Game Pass.
Yeah. And Sean got absolutely pelted on Twitter.
So to defend Sean, I know Sean's not here to defend himself, but it's one of those games that looks like it's a Game Pass game, but there was no news, and actually there was articles saying it's not coming on Game Pass. It's only when
there was only one article that said that was Game Rant.
Well, that's still an article, but either way, there'll be no news, nothing confirmed, no mention of Game Pass except from people expecting that it would be a Game Pass title, and it was only when the game was coming out that day and the Xbox showcase was 5 p.m, I believe it was. It was only when it got announced during the showcase was it like, and also it's out now on Game Pass. So
yeah, but fair play to James, he absolutely called that one. Like he was the one saying it's definitely coming to Game Pass all day. And then he absolutely nailed it.
I mean,
that's
not
James.
a hard prediction. Like, most indie titles go straight to Game Pass. It's hardly putting out from nowhere.
Last week you were saying about how it definitely wasn't going to be on Game Pass, Matt. So I think that is a pretty good prediction.
And Game Rant were pretty convinced as well.
Well, they often are.
And look, I've just looked at the editor of Game Rant, and it's one Matthew Murray. So interesting, very interesting.
I
Matt.
progressed from mattmurray.com, the premier gaming blog, went to Game Rant.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they got me to EGX.
Do you still own that domain?
No, God, no.
It did get you into EGX, didn't it?
Hang on, who does own mattmurray.com?
Yeah, what happens if you go to mattmurray.com now?
Who owns it?
It's probably a GoDaddy something rather.
Okay, right, so it doesn't exist. So someone buy mattmurray.com and then just put a picture of Matt Murray up there. Doctor it. Do a Photoshop of Matt Murray and we'll put it up there.
Yeah, sounds safe.
Someone will do that.
Tunic, we will talk about Tunic no doubt in what we've been playing, but yeah, that was a nice little announcement. I mean, they also talked about Trek to Yomi, which looks great. The previews are out, and they're not
I thought it was a Sony game. I didn't know that was coming to Xbox.
Nope.
Yeah, the previews haven't been super positive about that, unfortunately. But it still looks quite nice. I really like the look of that Curse to Golf, but that is the one that is that is the roguelike with something to do with cards. But it looked really nice.
Cool. All right. That's probably it for the indie showcase then. What's the next bit of news, James?
Okay, so also the other thing that's happened this week is that the Nintendo, it's like the Wii and the DSi shop channels have been offline for like quite a long time. They've like kind of disappeared. And
they announced a little while ago they were going to shut them, right?
Yeah, they shut them so that you so you couldn't buy anything. But then they were still up so that you could download things that you'd already bought, through
couldn't buy anything.
Yeah, and but then since the 16th of March, it's not been possible to do that either. They seem to have just disappeared.
So it's just completely inaccessible now.
Yeah, but the strange thing about it was, according to Eurogamer, the stores now show these error codes. There's like one for each, like one for Wii and one for DSi, and so you can't get into it. But then Nintendo's main server is still up for these games because there's third-party tools that you can use to download games from the servers, and the games are still there. It's just that the store isn't working anymore. But it seems that maybe this is this happening is ending now.
Yeah, it's a shame, but honestly, I was chatting to Sean bell about this recently because when they announced that they were going to shut is it the 3DS and the Wii U store? Or is it the DS and Wii U store?
Yeah, that was right, yeah.
Yeah, we were saying that, oh man, we should try and get... I think it was the 3DS, wasn't it? It was the 3DS store that we were talking about. And I'll try and get like people to just put their games up there for free, like for the last month or something. I think that should be a campaign that we genuinely look into. How cool would that be?
That'd be so good.
It's all going anyway, so just for last month, here's your games for free, just to make sure you've got them on ADS, like to preserve them. Well, let's do that. Honestly, let's proper campaign for that towards the end of the year, because it's not happening until next year. Let's get that done. Matt, write that down.
So, how are we going to get that done?
We'll just say it on a podcast.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, didn't think about that. Yeah.
And then the developers will listen to it and go, "Oh yeah,
That's
do
a
that."
great idea.
And then
We should do that.
Take credit because we said it first.
Could have earned some money, but no. Let's do it for free.
Why would you earn money?
No, the developer.
No, I know, but they're not going to, are they? Because who's buying their games on a weekly basis from the 3DS store?
Well, my thought would be, given it's closing, that's a great opportunity for everyone suddenly for people to hoover up the games they thought, wow, this is my last chance. That's what I was thinking.
All right, okay, well, shit on the idea, Matt. Shit on the idea, brilliant.
No, it's a great idea, Dave.
Sean then
just
said,
talk to all the devs.
That's a really good idea, that's really nice. Yeah, Matt comes and shits on it.
Well, it's a great idea, but we can't do anything about it. It's a lovely idea.
Yes, we can. We can promote the idea. We can get some devs on board. Let's go.
Everyone's games are free. Are they free? No, but they could be. Are they? No, they should be. Okay.
Matt, you got to make it happen. You can't make it happen with that attitude. You got to be.
I know, what a shitty attitude.
Both feet in.
What is this?
No, Dave. I'm looking forward for you to get all these devs on board. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be really exciting.
You're such a piece of shit, Matt. Oh, what a horrible negative person.
Dave, just talk to every developer and get them all to give all the games away for free.
It's not about giving it. You're what a nasty little man.
No, but tell me what the plan is again.
I'll tell you what the plan is, right? You go away and think about your attitude and come back in a few podcast time.
I'm just looking forward to this campaign you're going to do where you talk to all the devs and they're like, you know what, it's a great idea, let's give all the games away for free.
Right, I know Sean Bell's listening to this. Sean, me and you are going to do this, and when it's a massive success, right, Matt's going to eat his fucking work. Like, let's properly go for it. Let's properly get this done, Sean, and then we could turn around and laugh at Matt when we are the best.
Oh, no, it'd be brilliant. It's a win-win. I hope it happens.
Okay, well, let's see.
I'll tell you what's going to happen, though. I guarantee on Wednesday morning, there'll be a massive campaign for saying, actually, we've all thought about this and we're going to give them away for free. It'll just, maybe like an hour after the show's live, there'll be a global campaign from every developer and Nintendo.
That's the spirit.
There you go.
I think you might have been being sarcastic there, Sean.
Oh, okay.
No. It's more about the fact that we put a show out and then within minutes later, news happens. That's what I was saying.
Okay. All right.
Are we moving on? Okay. So, next news story is that apparently it seems to be problems at the initiative that are making Perfect Dark because there's been a load of people that have left. So, according to VGC, over half of the main development team, including like a handful of senior employees, have left. And so it's like 34
You're saying
staff.
the staff are taking the initiative here, James? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Thank you very much. Continue. I got that one in.
So 34 staff members have left the company in the last 12 months. And according to VGC, it says that staff were frustrated and didn't feel heard on key issues surrounding the development. And so some of this happened actually in September last year, which was around the time that Crystal Dynamics were also partnered to sort of try and help with the reboot of Perfect Dark. Do you want to hear what Daryl Gallagher, who's the head of the studio, has to say about it?
Go on then.
He said, "It's no small task to build a studio and reinvent a beloved franchise." Is it beloved, really?
Oh,
he didn't say that.
Yes.
I'm saying that.
I am so in. Perfect Dark and the original Shenmue are the two of the things that helped me be who I am today. That sounds very, very, very over the top. But Perfect Dark, when that got announced at the Video Game Awards, was it 2 years ago? Biggest hands down moment. I was like, this is fantastic. And then to hear this news that they are struggling in this initial stage of something coming back, and it's just red flags all over. But yes, beloved. But
I think there's part of me, like, I think part of me thinks it's better to hear about this stuff now than, after they've shown off the game and, clearly they've got further down the line, maybe. But then we don't really know how far into development it is, do we?
no.
Shall I continue the quote?
Oh.
So it says, in creating the initiative, we set out to leverage co-development partnerships to achieve our ambitions, and we're really excited about all the progress we're seeing with our relationship with Crystal Dynamics. In this journey, it's not uncommon for there to be staffing changes, especially during a time of global upheaval over the last 2 years, and there's plenty more work in front of us to deliver a fantastic Perfect Dark experience to our players.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, yeah, this is going to be seen as a bump in the road, regardless of what they're saying. It's going to see people are going to look at the development of this game already and think, oh, it's had a rocky time, even though it may not have, and what they're saying may be true. It's still going to be reported.
I mean, starting a studio is difficult, and people want, they want some stability. So it may not even be, the fault of the studio. It may be, but it may not be. Maybe actually, I want to work at a place where I know there's a track record, where they've got policies and procedures in place to protect staff. I mean, it must be difficult working in like a brand new studio, and you've got this big IP you got to deal with, and now also you're working with another third party studio as well. So, it's a shame because I really wanted to see more of this game, and it feels like we had that CGI trailer like a year or two ago, as Sean mentioned. It feels like we've got to be a fair while away from seeing much more. If half the studio's gone, I mean, that's going to set things back, however far along they are in development. I want this game to be good.
that's the thing.
It's a bump in the road.
I want it to be good because the first one, I did enjoy the first one, even though if you go back to it now, it's pretty ropey.
I love the first one,
etc.
So you loved it.
But Zero was awful. That was a bad game.
We don't talk about Zero.
Come on.
It was a very bad game.
Don't.
Yeah. It was a very bad game.
Yeah, I mean that was the game that I bought with my 360 and convinced myself it was good, like for a while, because it's like
we spent the rest of the week playing Bankshot Billiards though.
We did, yeah, we did that.
Which again shows the quality of Perfect Dark Zero.
Yeah, it was not good.
Quality of Bankshot Billiards.
And that, so I mean, this also to me says I wonder how much more work Crystal Dynamics will be doing on this game, like moving forward. If there is like loads of upheaval, new staff changes, etc. At the initiative, it feels like Crystal Dynamics will probably take on more responsibility to get things moving.
Well, that's a good thing.
Who knows? We'll never know.
They make good games. Crystal Dynamics.
They do make good games.
Yeah.
But we'll never properly know, will we?
Nope.
Okay.
Sure, just confirming for us there.
Yeah.
Fact.
No, it's just to touch back on it. Like I've worked with studios, and when big heads of departments move, the excuse is, the vision isn't the same anymore because the person has left, and it's just like I'm just seeing a lot of red flags. Like it's crushing to hear about that this week, but hopefully someone can salvage some stuff here. But yeah,
and even if it's not salvageable, like I think what I'm saying, my initial point was where they were with the marketing at the very least, is that they do have that option to say, do you know what, we can really take a step back, take our time with it, make sure, they've got the option to just stop and start again, which obviously would be devastating for the people that worked on everything that's happened so far, but it is still an option if things aren't working out the way they want.
For sure. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay. Next story is that EA have cancelled their E3 kind of thing, EA Play. It's not happening this year, basically.
Did they do it last year?
They did, but they did it in July. It was delayed way after E3 for some reason.
Right.
But this year they said we love EA Play Live as it's our way of connecting with our players and sharing what's new with all of you. However, this year, things aren't lining up to show you everything on one date. We have exciting things happening at our world-class studios, and this year we'll reveal more about these projects when the time is right for each of them. We look forward to spending time with you throughout the year. So, yeah, they're not going to be there at E3 this year.
It's a bit of a shame, isn't it?
It is, really.
Who is at E3 then?
Just Microsoft and Nintendo, isn't it? I think
it's basically just Microsoft, yeah.
Microsoft and their studios, yeah.
Yeah. With Microsoft and all the studios, pretty much, by this stage.
That's true.
It's a shame.
The
isn't it?
Microsoft Showcase is 8 hours long.
Yeah.
So we got that.
It's a shame. I guess I'm not surprised. I mean, obviously, lots of titles were getting again delayed for a whole number of reasons, and yeah, they are not beholden to E3 because they don't even do E3. So, why put more stress on the developers? And if things aren't lining up, then they're not lining up. It's a shame because it's one less thing to look forward to. Not that I would often really honestly look forward to the EA event, but still, we're looking forward to potentially
since it's gone like pre-recorded. The EA stuff hasn't been as good. The best stuff was how weird the EA, how wrong they got it. That's why I liked watching the EA stuff at E3.
There's
Jesse Wellens. The Men in Blazers,
Jesse Wellens,
all of that. Yeah. He's a YouTube content creator. Hi, Rick. It was just absolute joy to watch. So it's a shame that we don't get that no more. But I can't remember one of their digital ones. I don't remember their digital one last year. It's weird, isn't it?
Shame, yeah, shame.
Oh, right.
Okay, next one. Gran Turismo 7 was offline for 24 hours, and
oh my god,
people weren't happy about this.
I did not know that with this game, because a friend of mine's got GT7 recently, and he was complaining because the servers were down. And I was thinking, no, okay, so you can't play it online. That's not the end of the world. It wasn't until he explained to me, no, that actually you can barely do anything on the game if it's offline. I was like, why? It didn't seem like a very online game while I was playing it. Why have you got to be online for the majority of it?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm assuming it's probably because of the things like the microtransactions and buying cars and all that kind of stuff, and whether it's like tied in with the store or something, and that's why it's like that. But it's a bit odd. But it was down for 2 days, and it essentially meant that no one could play the game in its entire. They couldn't play the solo stuff. Yeah, and then on Friday morning last week, it came back online again with version 1.08, and then Polyphony Digital apologised, said that it was because there was a bug that was preventing it from starting properly. But then obviously also people then took to Metacritic and just review bombed the game.
Oh, of course I do.
And
because
it's a two phase thing. It's like one, the fact is offline for a day when it's even single player was down, but then the patch came and then that changed the how many credits you need to grind basically to get these cars. Now you need far more, and now people are concerned about how much microtransactions are getting pushed in front of people's faces, especially with the fact that you have to grind way more now to get some of the more expensive cars in the game.
Yeah.
What does it mean though? Like what when you say grind to get more expensive cars?
So
what?
You get credits for like winning a race or whatever. They're halving the number of credits you get, so that then it takes a lot longer to get enough money to be able to buy anything. Unless you
Did they explain why they're doing that?
Nope, there was no explanation.
They didn't have a reason for it. They just did it.
They just rebalanced it in inverted commas, and so then it ended up like that. And so obviously people are not happy about it because it does result in more grinding or microtransactions.
Because the game hasn't been out that long. All the reviews have been out saying, I'm reviewing it based off the build that they had when the reviews been written and when the game was coming out. And now, only 3 or 4 weeks later, suddenly it's all drastically changed. And I think potentially a lot of the reviews have said, actually, you can pay for things, but actually it's not that bad if you do this and the other. Now suddenly it's like if they're changing how many credits you need for certain cars, that's going to affect.
So the accusation is get the reviews out there, then change the price of things.
Yeah,
I mean that's not an accusation. That's what's happened thus far.
Wow.
Okay. Right. Interesting.
Which is not cool.
It's really strange as well, isn't it? Because do you remember when the first Forza came out for Xbox One? And that was all like with loads of microtransactions and everything, and everyone hated it.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 5, it got really torn to pieces because of all the microtransactions stuff.
And you'd be thinking, like, surely they saw that and were like, just don't do that because people really hate it and get really
annoyed. The big one was Battlefront 2, wasn't it? That felt like a game-changing moment, certainly when it came to EA. Outside of their sports games anyway, they're still pretty bad with it everywhere else.
And as we've already said, this is even worse always because it's the £70 price point as well. Makes you just think, why am I having to spend extra for all
Doesn't
this
help.
stuff. You know, it really doesn't
Doesn't
help.
help, does it?
Yeah.
Also, it's such a shame because it's such a good game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just I don't like having a dark cloud over what is clearly a really good game. You know.
Mm.
Yeah, it's quite upsetting. But there you go. Okay.
Okay, next story is that Sony have also acquired Haven Studios. So this is Jade Raymond's studio that was set up after she left Stadia, and Sony had already invested in the studio in March last year, and they've been working on some what they're calling an exclusive new IP for PlayStation, which is like a live service experience apparently. And
Okay.
it's things are not going to change. Basically, they just acquired them so that
Clearly they liked what they were seeing. You know, obviously we don't know what was going on in that studio at all. So, but yeah, I was quite surprised because it was like, oh, they've acquired the studio that haven't actually done anything by the looks of it. But obviously, if they've been working together in the past, they know what they're all about and obviously saw something worth purchasing. So that's cool.
Yeah, the interesting thing, just looking at social media whilst this news broke, was half the folks were like, "Yeah, this is great," and the other folks were like, "What exactly have Haven Studios actually done?" And it just takes that extra step of just doing your research. But no, I mean, Jade's fantastic. She's from Canada. She's been worked on like Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed. It just goes to show you that it's not just the reputation of what games have been released. Like the studio has been acquired just on the talent alone. And that's quite refreshing just to have, because there's no kind of anything in the kind of closet or no baggage that comes with it. It's just, hey, you know, it's acquired. You know, let's get to work. So it's an interesting one just to see how the social media has taken on board with this news, and that was today as well. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, they must have been super impressed with whatever they're working on, you know, in development. So that kind of makes me more excited about whatever it is. I mean, maybe it's just, hey, you know, this looks like it might be right. Let's buy the studio now while they're still relatively small and new and whatnot. But still, you know, they must have seen something that's impressive enough to think, let's put our hand in our pocket now and nail this down before it went multi-platform or something else.
It's also interesting how, I mean, yeah, we were talking about it in our WhatsApp, you know, just like how they seem to be going really heavily into all this live service stuff. You know, it's like this is another, like they bought Bungie and now they bought this as well as like a live studio. And then now they're saying, I mean, didn't they say that they were expecting they were going to release like 10 live service games, like over the next
year?
That was the news story
10
going
games.
around.
Yeah, which is...
Yeah, but hopefully 3 of those are PlayStation Home.
Yeah, the very least.
Imagine that.
Oh no!
Oh, do you know, I'd love it if that came back.
It's coming back, mate. I'm telling you, it's coming back. It's going to launch with VR, PSVR 2. 100%. Telling you. Write that down. That's going to happen.
They absolutely should. I mean, that totally plays into the whole metaverse thing. They'll be mad not to.
Because they're going to do it, Matt. They're absolutely going to do it. PlayStation Home's coming back. PSVR 2 launch. Let's go. That's what's happening. Isn't it, Sean?
Just want to do the Running Man in VR.
No.
Obviously, Sean would love to confirm this right now, but unable to.
I
But
want to hear more about this.
let's take that silence.
I want to hear that Running Man comment that James was about to say.
You know, I just want to do the Running Man in VR again. You know,
Let's do it
Again?
Again, yeah.
You've been doing that in VR already, James?
every time I stream. It's just no one can see it.
All right. Okay.
Okay, next story is that CD Projekt have also just confirmed that a new Witcher game is in development. They said, this is an exciting moment as we're moving from Red Engine to Unreal Engine 5, building a
It's an
multi-year...
exciting moment as we're moving away from the catastrophe and onto something more promising, hopefully.
Beginning a multi-year strategic partnership with Epic Games. It covers not only licensing but technical development of Unreal 5 as well as... but it's boring. But yeah, so basically they're doing that, and they're not going to use the Red Engine anymore, but they are still using that for Cyberpunk 2077, and also for the expansions.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't just switch out the engine for... Yeah, could you imagine that?
But no, they
just copied and pasted it and it worked.
They explicitly said that in the quote. Like they said, at this point, no further details regarding the game. But then it just says, but we're still using Red Engine for Cyberpunk, because obviously people probably were going to ask like about that. It's like we'll just port the whole thing over.
We stuck a new engine in it,
yeah,
and now everything works fine. Look, the people don't just disappear and stuff.
Yeah,
look at that. Yeah, okay. There's a new Witcher game that's going to get a lot of people excited. You were a big fan of The Witcher 3, weren't you, James?
I did. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It's a very good
Sean,
game.
you play The Witcher?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Cyberpunk's the first CD Projekt Red game I've ever played, and I love it.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll jump. I'll jump into the first
Why
one.
does everyone like this studio?
Yeah, exactly. No, I must admit, I did hear so much good legacy about how the side missions are sometimes even bigger and better written than the main quests. So with that in mind, I knew that at least some part of Cyberpunk was going to be awesome with the side missions, and they actually tick the boxes. So I will go back to 3. Well, I'll start 3. I own 3. Don't own any others, but I will do it when the port or whenever the PS5 version is.
I'll make a good stream. I'll tell you that. It'll make a good stream. People love that Witcher.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
They're obviously announcing it super early on. I mean, this feels more like a recruitment exercise than
it's like, get off
else.
my back, man. That's what they're saying. Just get off my back. Leave me alone for a bit.
Yeah, like get us out now. 1, so people can join the team, and also 2, before anything leaks. Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, was the Red Engine a big cause of the issues of Cyberpunk, or it's probably just a good time to make a clean split and work? I mean, obviously Unreal Engine 5 looks stunning, and so it looks like it's, a lot of people in the industry are working on that these days, so it probably makes sense to work on something that lots of people will be working on together, collaborating, constantly improving it. That's what Epic will be doing, so it kind of makes sense to do that rather than your own proprietary engine, especially if you've had potential issues in the past with it.
Okay.
Next story is that Elden Ring has hit 12 million worldwide sales, which is obviously really big. I mean, it's
not bad for a niche title.
It's the biggest.
It's mad, isn't it?
Well, it's the biggest non-Call of Duty or FIFA launch in the UK since Red Dead Redemption 2. So it's like it's done incredibly well, from this.
What blows my mind about this is that Elden Ring is like as anti mainstream as you could possibly get in gaming, isn't it? I mean, it's certainly up there. You could argue that it's one of the most impenetrable games ever, and it's selling this amount of numbers. Like, it's crazy how well it's selling. Like, how many... I'd love to know the percentage of the people that bought this game, stick it on and go, the fuck is this? Like, why is it so hard? Why is it not telling me anything? What am I supposed to do?
Why are these people talking in riddles that don't make any sense? Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started. I got a lot of heat for that last week. I got a lot of heat for that.
You're not allowed to criticise, David. Just don't.
No, it wasn't that. It's just people disagree with me, and that's fine. Maybe I'm being harsh on the audience. Maybe actually, the confusing games are easily picked up by lots of people, so maybe I should just chill out a bit.
It's also because of
it's
the zeitgeist as well. Like I've spoken to friends who have never played a From Software game before, and they are 70 hours into Elden Ring, and said, "Hey, I don't even know if Bloodborne was like this, but this game is doing something for me." And it's not the fact that it's difficult; it's just the fact that it's a mixture between, the name of George R.R. Martin. It's come out. If you preferred Horizon, then you probably went for Horizon. If you preferred Elden Ring, you probably gone for Elden Ring. It's the hype around it as well. Like, a lot of people are talking about it, and it's just come out in a really good time of the year, man. February? When it was March? February, March? I forget when it launched.
Yeah.
The start of the year is like when everyone is just like coming off that lull from over Christmas. They've got their games from October onwards, and they're looking for the new thing. And word of mouth, it does wonders.
That's true, but that certainly wasn't the case this year. We didn't have that lull this year. Like, usually it's really bad, but then we've had Gran Turismo, like but Horizon. We've had Elden Ring, and then of course there's a ton of games coming out later in this, like over the next couple of months as well. It's nuts this period. But I'm in that situation where I'm playing these games. I'm playing games that aren't Elden Ring, and I'm thinking, I just want to play Elden Ring. Like, that's where I'm at. And I could see why the hype is so big for this one.
Done very well.
It's amazing.
Done very well.
it feels like Souls games are now not niche, officially.
They are not. No, they're mainstream. They're like Call of Duty. I wonder if Sean hates them now. Too popular.
I thought we were going to start doing annual releases. with
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I can't wait to play Elden Ring
23.
Yeah, it's the same game, just new kits.
They've changed the roster of bosses. Great.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
Last story, which is that Stadia now has a click-to-play demos available without an account. So you can now try games for free for like a limited amount of time, and you can play them directly in Chrome or whatever. You don't need a Stadia account. And Google claims that with the feature, which they've already trialled this in October last year, there was a 35% increase in click-through rates compared with the buy or claim buttons, as well as a 70% boost in player engagement. And I tried this today.
I just want to know the number of numbers. 12 people clicked through.
That's the thing, yeah.
35% of users have... It's what I mean.
They're well, it's still 8 people. It's a great number.
Yeah.
But
Don't say 8 people, say 80%.
Yeah.
Because then they don't know the amount of people. Go on.
I tried this though earlier today just to see if it did work, and it does work. I mean, as everyone always keeps telling us all the time, Stadia works. It's yes, it does.
Yeah. But
the games on offer, the one I tried was Paw Patrol. There wasn't really that many.
Which one though, mate? There's loads of Paw Patrol games on that bad boy. Which one are you talking about? On a Roll?
I don't know which one it is. It's hang on.
Is it the one where there's superheroes where you collect in the doggy bones?
It might be. I don't know. But there was
Why did you try that?
Because there was only 7 games to choose that worked on this.
Any of them aimed at adults? Or
out of 7, you chose Paw Patrol. What else was on the list?
Okay, so there was a game called Grime. There was MotoGP 21. Okay, it's Paw Patrol, the movie, Adventure City Calls.
Wow.
And then there was... Is that a good one?
It's just a very long name.
Is that a good one? James, why did you pick that one to try?
Because I just thought it would load quickly. I thought...
Why not a bit of bite? Because you thought it would load quickly.
Basically, yeah. I thought it'd load more quickly than the other stuff. And then there was Risk of Rain 2, SteamWorld Dig 2, Jackbox Party Pack 8, and Ease 9, Monstrum Nox. I mean, I wasn't going to go for that, because that's probably got a 3-hour opening cinema or whatever. So there you go.
Paw Patrol the movie on a roll?
No, it's Paw Patrol the movie, Adventure City Calls.
that name.
City Calls.
Paw Patrol the movie, the video game.
It's probably on Game Pass.
Yeah.
James, you do more advertising for Stadia than Google.
I know.
Every week you talk about Stadia.
I know. Well, I would if I could. I would, but there's not. Unfortunately, not that many news stories.
You should get a job on a marketing team. I mean, you're basically doing it anyway for free.
Oh, do you remember, Matt, when we were doing that live show? We were trying to get you a T-shirt that had asked me about Google Stadia.
God, yeah, I'm so gutted we didn't think of that before EGX, not on the way down.
Oh dear.
I must admit, I didn't know there was much Stadia in general until I started listening to this podcast. So you're single-handedly keeping Stadia going.
Yeah, this is the unofficial Stadia podcast, whether James likes it or not.
I do just find it I don't know, I'm just fascinated by it. I'm absolutely fascinated by it. How you can get this enormous corporation that just screws up this badly. I think it's incredible. It's very interesting.
There was some genuine Stadia news this week. I'm sure in the last
couple
of days.
Genuine Stadia news.
Well, they released the thing for businesses to use the technology. I can't remember what they called it, but that came out this week. So other companies can start using the technology for their own kind of stream.
So they can play their own games?
Yeah, you license it, and then you can have your games running through it. But there's no.
I thought you meant just if you're in the office, you could play Paw Patrol, the movie, Adventure Based Calling, or whatever it's called.
No, you can do that. It's Adventure City Calls.
Service.
Adventure City Calls. I do apologise. Okay, all right, are we done?
Yeah, but I have got some Fantasy Zone.
What? Well.
Oh my God! Are you ready?
Are you okay, Sean? This is the first time live.
Fantasy Zone.
Yeah, I don't even know what. Actually, no, I think I was in the last one, but I didn't hear the jingle.
Yeah, well, no, we edit that in later, don't we, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to hear it today either, Sean.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Fantasy Zone.
Here we are.
Whoa.
In the Fantasy Zone. Look at this.
my God.
Sweating.
It's misty,
We're all
isn't it?
sweating.
It's very misty.
It is hot.
Why is it so
hot.
foggy?
It's a bit close. It is a bit close,
I
Matt.
can barely see 2 feet in front of me.
I know. I like it hot, but I
I also
don't.
shouldn't have worn a jacket.
Jacket in this weather?
I didn't realise this. I thought the Fantasy Zone would be the same humidity that we were previously, but now I've made a huge mistake.
Dripping.
I'm wearing shorts next time.
I know. It's one of those. It's one of those like sort of climates that you can't get cool because even if you start like if you got hand fan or something, it's just blowing hot air into your face.
Nice.
It's too much actually. Should we just go home?
It's like the Eden Project, isn't it? Basically, it's like that kind of heat.
Yeah, it's exactly like the Eden Project. What's your bullshit that you got to tell us now, James?
Okay,
Child of Eden Project.
very good.
Good.
Okay, I've got 2 stories here. One of them is almost certainly just true, I think, and it's just this is going to happen.
Nice ruin that one. Go on.
It's a Jeff Grubb one, so it's
Okay,
probably going to happen.
Go on,
So
Jeff. What
he
you got for us?
says that Fallen Order 2 will 100% be shown at the Star Wars celebration in May, which I assume is on May the 4th. There's going to be one of those things.
Right. So
apparently that's going to come. But the second one,
that makes sense.
That's not really. That doesn't really count for a fantasy zone, is it? There's not much fantasy
that's
involved
just
in
a
that.
teaser.
A game we know is being worked on will be shown off eventually. Like it's not really. Yeah, go on.
Well,
That's
not eventually. On a very specific day.
Okay, but that's not exactly like fantasy zone material,
No,
is it?
it's
Matt?
not. It's not set in the world light.
No, go on. Let's
Okay,
hear
the
the
next
real
one. It sounds like more pure bullshit, to be honest. But
Don't
Okay,
say
that's
that.
what I like.
Don't get us worked up.
No, I like this. Come on.
and this comes courtesy of the Xbox Era podcast.
Here we
Oh
go.
yeah,
Big
that'd be a
bullshit.
good podcast.
Yeah.
Good podcast. Listen to it. Ever subscribe.
I love that podcast, baby.
That Xbox era. It's about the whole era of Xbox. That one. It's good. Go on.
Okay, this is the quote. They said, Xbox has some hardware that they want to show, that they're going to show, that falls into a different bucket than people are expecting.
Different bucket, is it?
Yeah.
Is it a controller?
So they've got
And
some
they stick.
hardware that they want to show. It goes into a different bucket.
Yeah. So basically, it's
It's
the
a
new
little shovel
Xbox
for the
hardware.
beach.
But they said it's something that people are not expecting it to be. That it's
It's a
it's
massive
like,
sex toy. That would be surprising. Is it one of those rip-off hooky PlayStations? Is that what they're going to be releasing? With all it's got Raspberry Pi on it and 100 games. Is that what Microsoft are going to release next, James?
Hopefully. I mean, I'm hoping to see
Well,
like a return of Bleamcast. That they could have that.
No, no one expects it. No one would expect them to do that.
No?
To just bring out a Nintendo Switch. Just say it works the same, but it's half the price. It plays all the Switch games.
Like, it plays
In
all
fact,
these
actually,
ROMs.
we've preloaded.
Look, it would preload
Yeah,
all
we
these ROMs.
preloaded loads on there. Imagine that. Or if they announced they're releasing a microwave oven.
Yeah.
Well, they did a fridge, didn't they?
They did do a fridge.
Good point. Time for the oven.
They did the big fridge and gave it to Snoop Dogg. And then they sold the little mini fridge,
Did
didn't
Snoop
they?
Dogg get a big one?
I think he got...
Is that the
Okay,
episode
we've got our
title?
episode title. Did Snoop Dogg get a big one?
There we go.
I think he did. I think he got one of the big ones, didn't he?
Dang.
Who got a big
Who's got a big
Series X fridge? Who got a big one?
Obviously, a bunch of YouTubers got a big one. Like iJustine did, and
No, only there was only like 5 of them made, I think.
well, I know
Who
she got one
won?
because I saw the video.
Did she get?
I quite fancy one of those fridges, but then when they come out, everyone said actually it hums quite loudly. I'm not going to bother.
Fucking hell! What is going? What are we? Is this carry on up the podcast
No,
now?
David, it
What is
hums
this?
quite
Oh,
loudly.
hums.
Oh, hums! That is not what it sounds like.
And yet it was still
That's not
smaller
what it
and quieter
sounded
than the
like,
PlayStation 5.
Anyway, I'm excited for them to announce this TV stick, which is probably what it's going to be, right?
It's either that or it could be VR. Maybe it's something VR related.
Oh, please. Xbox. That's all I've got.
Good point, Sean. Good point.
That's what I've got. No, they had their AR time in the sun, didn't they? And what happened to that?
Oh, what their
The
glasses?
HoloLens,
Yeah.
didn't they? Yeah.
HoloLens.
They
Yeah,
just
yeah,
stick-
yeah. Still working on
Yeah,
that, Parry.
just nail that and then we can entertain anything else, but please. Leave the VR to the pros.
Yeah, that would be a mistake for them to do that. I can't see them doing
shots
that.
fired.
No, it's the Long Island iced tea I'm drinking whilst on this podcast. That's how.
yeah, come on, Sean. He's going for it. Let's get him really drunk, and then he can tell us what predictions that we got right.
Have you got
Go
any
on,
Jaeger at home?
No,
Sean?
I made a Long Island iced tea specifically for this podcast recording. It's a school night, and GDC started today.
You could just make them. I never thought about that.
Yeah, well, I actually... this is off topic, but I actually do make cocktails in my free time professionally.
Okay, good, brilliant.
Tell me more.
You're definitely coming to the live event, then, please.
Why don't I have one right now, Sean? Why don't you send one over?
Okay,
why wasn't there?
Down, email it to him as an
Why didn't you
attachment.
send us a hamper of cocktails?
Well, if we're still in the fantasy zone, I could just magic it to you some way, right?
Good point.
Yeah.
Bloody good point.
Put it in the Dropbox. Yeah. We'll get it. We'll get it.
On its way.
Okay, right. Well, no, you are definitely coming to Sheffield because I want a Long Island iced tea. Right. Okay. Is that it for the news and your bullshit, James?
That's it. I'm done. I'm completely done.
Good. Let's get to what you've been playing then. Let's start with Matt Murray. Matt, what you've been playing this week?
So I have played a lot more Elden Ring, and then I thought I'd have a break and I'll play some Tunic. But let's get into Elden Ring, I guess, first.
How far into Elden Ring are you?
Episode, I hadn't really done much because I was enjoying all the traveling around. But I started actually killing people, and I killed the first boss. God, I can't remember what her name is.
Margit, yeah.
Done Margit. It was really good. I mean, I was quite over leveled at that point because I had I updated some, I upgraded some of my ashes, like the people that come in and support you, so I could summon them during the fight and absolutely smash Margaret after like 5 or 6 goes. So it wasn't really much of a challenge, but it was awesome to do. And now I haven't done the second boss actually, so I'm still kind of enjoying the traveling. I've done loads of the map. I did have a really annoying thing where I kept getting invaded, and I thought, well, this is annoying. I'm going to turn this into offline mode because I'm trying to get to a certain location to meet a certain NPC. He kept getting invaded by this character. I'm like, this is a nightmare. So I got killed. I got destroyed by this someone who invaded me. I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into offline mode, and we'll do it again. Went offline mode, same location, got invaded again. I was like, what? What's happening with this game?
It's an NPC invasion, right?
It was an NPC. I didn't realise that until I turned the internet off. I was like, how is this still happening?
Is that the one near that sort of cylinder building with the red? Is he?
He is red, yes.
I think I've done him.
I mean, I've done him now, but I was like, I disconnected my cable to my Xbox. How is this still happening? And then I Googled it and that's just like an NPC invasion. I was like, man, that's annoying. But I eventually did kill them, and then I could move on with my life. But yeah, that was a shock. I was like, why is this happening to me? I didn't realise there'll be NPC invasions.
If it does balance things out for yourself, Matt, you've probably mentioned it before, but back in the round table, you can buy the white cipher ring, and that works with human as well as AI invasions.
That's right.
But you need to be online for the human to join you to help fight the AI. So,
also, Matt, this isn't a new thing. Souls games have had this like loads of times before. Pretty much all of them have had this, haven't they?
Well, I mean, I just don't remember it happening in my previous like Bloodborne and Sekiro and other things like that. But apparently also when this person summons into your game or invades your game, also like a friendly would also apparently invade to help you with the fight. But I was getting killed so quickly that I never even saw the person that was meant to support me. Anyway, I killed that person in the end and I moved on with my life. But that was a shock. But no, I'm still absolutely loving it, and it is really good actually to make some decent progress and see a bit more of the story. And no, I'm absolutely loving it. But I kind of have to pull myself away to play another game. But no, I'm absolutely loving it. I assume you're still playing it, David?
Yeah, I mean, I've done what I assume is the second main boss. I made it to the next like sort of big area. What's it called?
Liurnia? Liurnia? Like
That's right.
Yeah, I've been trying to say it on
something lake, right? Isn't it the Luna Lake?
Something like that. There's a big lake in the middle, or swamp.
Yeah. That I've got to there and I've stopped. Not out of like fear. I'm not scared. If that's what you're thinking. I just want to play something else for a bit. So I'm going to go back to that this week.
That is a scary area. I mean, I'd be in that area, and I went to this like cave to get loads of mining stuff. But yeah, that whole area is horrible. I've just bombed it from one.
You've been there? You've been there without
second
actually
boss.
earning the right to be there.
Yeah, well, you can go anywhere you want around the whole map. That's the whole point of it being open world.
Okay.
But yeah, so I went to like a place to mine like smithing stones and stuff. But yeah, the whole area is just really rather scary. Apart from the person selling prawns, I quite like that dude.
I think I killed it. Well, I killed an NPC in the castle that I'm pretty sure I wasn't supposed to. I thought it was an enemy, and I went up, started stabbing them, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh no, well, I'm gonna have to finish you now."
I know.
So
yeah,
there is an NPC that I've
I heard
taken out.
early on that if you can try and like lock on something, if you can't lock onto them, then they're a friendly NPC. So,
Yeah, but I just battered them because they looked weird, and then freaked out because they started talking to me. And I was like, "You're not supposed to talk to me." So yeah, that was a problem. I got loads of items though, so I guess I'm happy with that. I don't know, but yeah, no, I'm still loving that game. It's still like occupying a space in my mind. I'm not even convinced that I'm going to complete it, and I'm not even really looking to. I'm just enjoying just seeing what that place is all about. It's crazy, really.
I don't know
enjoying
how
it
long
a
it
lot.
will take me to finish it. I'm like 25 hours in, and I've literally only just done that first boss. So
Right.
and
See, I'm 10 hours in, and I've done
yeah,
the first
it's taken
two.
a lot. I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying, yeah, it's like a 70, 80 hour game. It would be a 200-hour game for me. So we'll see. I'll probably still be in November still playing it. But no, I still love that game so bloody much. Like the sense of excitement and adventure, even if you're in areas you don't want to go or you feel like you shouldn't be there, it's still mesmerizing.
Yeah, really is. Sean, how are you getting on with
Absolutely loving it. It's become, I mean, it's only March now, but I think it's a good contender for my personal game of the year. Like, it feels like it's the From Software game that they've been longing to make all this time. So I've only done 2 story bosses. I'm 70 hours in, and I'm 69, level 69, which is pretty nice.
Wow.
But it's just the fact that I mean, this is the first Souls-like game that I've played where everyone is actually trying to work out what to do and reveal kind of secrets, and it's all very community-based right now. There's no completed Wikipedia. There is no kind of complete walkthrough. I mean, there is people who sped run it, like in the last 2 weeks, to get it down from 2 hours to 1 hour to 30 minutes. And then we had a patch last week, and that kind of undoes what the fastest speedrunner was able to do. And it's just like nobody is a pro at this game. I mean, the thing I love the most about this game, as someone who loves From Software through and through, is you can be whatever level you can be. You are still going to get your butt handed to you because, you know, the enemies don't scale with you. And you know when an area is not ready for you. Like the area you just got to, David, I realized last week is the place you go after Limgrave, because I was like, there's a place to the right here and it's all red. Maybe this is the easiest place to go to next. And the game never tells you that. It's just how hard you hit things. If it dies quicker, then yes, that's the next place. And it's just so much, just the sense of discovery. Like I would just get on the back of my horse and just go somewhere, and if something looks intriguing, you can just do it. I mean, it's the Breath of the Wild kind of thing.
There's always weird shit about. There's always weird shit. I was just walking about in the world not too long ago, just because I like doing that every now and then, just walking out of wherever I am and just like having, I'm going in this direction, and then I just heard like this really powerful singing, and I was like, what's that about? Riding along and it's getting louder, and I'm thinking, where's it coming from, and then I thought, there's a little path down the side of this cliff, and when I go down here, the singing, the sort of beautiful Italian opera singing gets louder and louder, and then you realise like it's a big bat that then just tries to attack you and poisons you within like seconds, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Anyway, I finally killed it, but then when I went back there later, I heard the singing again, and I thought, right, I'm not going anywhere near that singing now.
Yeah.
As beautiful as it is. Totally screwed
And
me
by
over.
design, that's exactly what it was made to do. Like, it's supposed to just, I mean, like the sirens and like in mythological creature stuff, it is there to be like, what is that? And it intrigues you, and then you are going to get battered. And the fact that you can get that in a video game that we naturally just came across and thought, what is going on here? And they are made to be stronger than the other bats. So it's just like, we're learning by trial and error. Well done, Miyazaki. You've got us again.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? How they've they've absolutely nailed it. It feels totally different. You know, we said time and time again, I thought I was done with these games, and clearly I am not. They found a way of making it feel fresh again.
I do have one question though, because I've saw this on Twitter and I've been asking friends and stuff. When there is another From Software game, so obviously I don't know anything, but let's just say there is another Bloodborne or whatever, and it does go back into the kind of the tighter linear interiors, do you think that personally that would be like a step back from what you've now want because you've been spoiled by the open world of Elden Ring? Like, would you still enjoy it, or would you kind of, respect and play through the tighter kind of corridors again?
Well, this is it. I was kind of done with that style of game, and that's what I just assumed this was. And finding out that it wasn't that, then that's fine. But I don't know. I'd be interested to hear from the real true, like the big fans of FromSoft games that play every single one and fall in love with every single one. I'd love to know how they feel about that. Whether they would want another open world game or go back to the more linear stuff. How about yourself? Like, what would you
honestly
prefer?
Until I saw the tweet of someone saying, imagine Bloodborne 2 but not open world, it made me think maybe I would want it to be at least a bit bigger. Imagine playing in a place like Yharnam and it is like the size of a city. Like, that would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Not saying that I wouldn't play it, but I just feel like most of my fun from Elden Ring and everything that led up to Elden Ring is now we have a world now we can explore. We've got the combat down a lock. We've got, the great enemy boss kind of encounters, the design, all the crazy weapons. And then now we have an open world to play in. If we were to take that back down and be like, corridors, rooms, castles, whatever, it'll be fun. But I wouldn't say that it kind of will scratch that itch that, Elden Ring will leave behind, which I think only Breath of the Wild 2 might be able to scratch at this rate. So yeah, it depends.
Oh, I'm worried.
Yeah. It's an interesting question.
I'm worried that Breath of the Wild 2 will not be able to recapture that magic, It's just part of me that just thinks, how the hell does it do that?
Yeah.
And it, even going back to Breath of the Wild recently, it's like, I forgot, that game doesn't look that great. Like, it feels like I wished they'd wait for some new hardware before they showed off more Breath of the Wild.
I'm still convinced they will. I'm still convinced they will delay it until there's like an upgraded Switch. I mean, Breath of the Wild, as you said, was struggling on the Switch hardware as we've got now, and that was many years ago.
Wasn't that bad.
The Wii U one was pretty good, and that's on the previous gen. If it's docked.
I think when it came out, James, I think it looked absolutely fine, and it looked great in places as well, especially moving. It did look great. But when you go back to it now, after the games we're used to playing now, it really does start to show its age.
That's an interesting question, though, Sean, about whether the next one will be open world or whatever. I mean, it does feel like this could be just the start of a franchise, and maybe Elden Ring is the open world stuff, and they'll go back to Dark Souls or Bloodborne. That'll be more the the standard kind of FromSoft game. I mean, I think I can only really answer that if I went back and played Bloodborne again or Dark Souls or Sekiro and see how I felt compared to the adventure and what you're getting with the open world FromSoft game. But I mean, obviously the previous ones are amazing. I don't think necessarily just because this one's so good that means that they can't just smash again with a much more focused single player version. But yeah, the idea of open world Bloodborne or open world Sekiro or whatever is truly exciting.
Yeah. And one thing I do miss, which Elden Ring I don't think it'd ever have, is just thinking about your your first Souls game, just everything being linked back into a filing shrine, like just the way you explore somewhere and then it comes back to this hub. Like, you don't really have that in Elden Ring, and I by default always go to the round table, just be like, this is my safe place because this is my filing shrine, and that doesn't exist in that. So as long as the fundamentals, what make a From Software game is there, tight combat, the ability to do co-op, great bosses, all that stuff, then I would play it. But just there's some things that are missing, which I felt like I didn't need. But, it isn't there. And if they brought that back, just a hub, everything linking back to this one place, I will still welcome it with open arms anyway.
Yeah, but the Breath of the Wild 2 conversation is interesting because I think so many times I'm playing this and I'm on horseback. I've got kind of a green outfit. This is basically kind of that ultra realistic Zelda that some people have maybe wanted for a long time, and I wonder how much this is going to affect potentially our enjoyment of Breath of the Wild 2 or. Breath of the Wild 2, I mean, Breath of the Wild was amazing. They could do a second one, which is basically more the same. It'll still be amazing. But now we'll play this. Does this now change, move the goalposts and actually change expectations for a game that's totally different on a different platform with different developers? But look at this open world. Has this push open world games forward in a way that now when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, we'll be looking at it with quite different eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's Elden Ring. Anything else, Matt?
So I've also played Tunic, which came out on Game Pass.
I have also played Tunic.
I am only 5 hours in. How much have we all played this game so far?
You're further than me. I've played about an hour and a half.
I only played it for about 10 minutes or so. There's just too many games at the moment. There's too many things. I can't start another one. Because if I start another one, I'm never going to finish anything, and I hate that.
Well, I mean, so as much as I was loving Elden Ring, I was like, this is, new game's out. This is a good opportunity to pause Elden Ring, play this game, and then come back to it. So, actually, I want to play also Shredders, which is the snowboarding game, which also came out on Game Pass in the last few days, but I haven't had a chance to play that yet. But no, Tunic. So, it's basically a kind of like a Zelda game. You play as a cute fox. And I mean, I'm only early doors, although I don't think it's actually terribly long game. I've heard talk about 12 hours. I've also heard talk about 20 odd hours if you want to see and collect everything. And much like a Zelda game, you have to collect weapons. So I've currently got a sword. I started with a stick. I've got a sword. I think there's probably a hook shot type thing I have to get at some point. Bombs. And just like a Zelda game, you're navigating the map. There's some dungeons. You kill the various enemies, and you get your new ability, and that will help you traverse more of the map that you couldn't access before with maybe a hook shot or whatever you've got. It's a weird one. So 5 hours in, I still not massively enjoying it. Combat-wise, mostly, is just really, really unsatisfying. So, I mean, this feels very Death's Door in a bunch of ways. Not only is it kind of like isometric, top-down view, it's got a really lovely soundtrack. It looks and feels a lot like Death's Door, but doesn't quite nail it on pretty much definitely on combat. I think music isn't quite as good, and maybe it's unfair to compare the two. But it definitely feels like that again. I mean, again, a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is kind of like Zelda, has some Souls elements," and Sean was saying, "Now, what's up?" No, it's basically Death's Door. I think. I mean, that's now the game we can compare to. Whereas before, with Death's Door, we're like, "Well, it's kind of like a bit Soulsy, a little bit Zelda-y." Now we have that point of reference, and that point of reference is Death's Door, and thus far, it doesn't quite live up to it. Combat-wise, yeah, it's just really, really basic and it's not really fun at all. To the point where in the settings you can actually change it. So you can have so you have the stamina in the game, and stamina is you use it up by rolling away. And there's a setting in accessibility in settings where you can actually turn off so you don't spend any stamina at all, so you can just keep rolling away from enemies and keep swiping and stuff, so that makes combat a little bit more fluid. There's also like a god mode, or I can't remember what they call it. I think it's no fail mode in the settings, and again that means you can just go in and just like wreck shop without worrying about getting caught by a really annoying enemy. David, you said you only played an hour. How have you found the combat so far?
Yeah, I'm sort of struggling to get into it. I mean, obviously, I can't have any real criticism towards it. I haven't played it for long enough. But firstly, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The animations and everything about it just looks absolutely wonderful. So that sort of blew me away straight away. But then, yeah, I mean, the combat very early on is a little bit, just feels a little bit more cumbersome than Death's Door did. Death's Door instantly felt like fluid to me. Like I knew what I was trying to do. I knew how to avoid attacks and go for it and all this, that and the other. Whereas here, I feel that I'm sort of rolling out of the way, but at the same time, I feel completely underpowered compared to the enemies around me, and there's lots of them. And it feels like actually I'm progressing more by just running away from everything. and that's not particularly fun experience, you know.
In the opening hours too, I was basically seeing an enemy like hit once, roll away, hit once, roll away, hit once, roll away. There is a way to upgrade your skills later. You can upgrade like the power, your defense, and magic, and all sorts of stuff. So you can definitely be more powerful as the game moves on, as well as different weapons. But yeah, it just cumbersome is absolutely the right way to describe it. I'll tell you what, the enemy I've been killed by most in this game is the menu. So. The menu to kind of change weapons and stuff is on the left bumper, and when you go to change weapons,
God, yeah, I do that all the fucking time. Yeah.
Oh my god, when you go to change weapons, the game doesn't pause, so you can be in a menu and there's enemies fighting you. So if you need to change your weapon, within a minute, within combat, you're basically dead. But so you go into the menu, and then you can assign weapons and stuff to the top buttons on the Xbox pad. I'm playing on Xbox. The amount of times I've gone to that menu and I've gone to I've selected maybe like the sword, and I've pressed what I think is B to get out of the menu, and then it reassigns the sword to B, and then suddenly I've actually assigned myself a stick during combat. I've been killed so many times in the middle of combat because I've suddenly randomly reassigned a weapon to the wrong button. It's happened like 5, 6, 7 times. It's so bloody annoying. Like most games, or most people, I would imagine you would expect B to be the exit button out of a menu, but to have that assign a new weapon when you're in the middle of combat, trying to do things quickly on the fly, I hate it.
You see, the main thing I've heard about this game that it's not really about the combat, and that it's really about all the puzzles and stuff, and that's where the fun really comes from. And that the combat, you just whack it on easy or whatever, or put it on no fail, and it doesn't really matter so much because you're really there just to be exploring.
Which sounds great, but there are so many enemies. Like, it's so heavily loaded with enemies at the start of the game that you would not get that impression. If you hadn't have said that, I believe what you're saying, but it's not evident from what I've played so far that there's a lack of focus on combat. Because right now it feels
the puzzle
very,
element
very
doesn't
combat
really
heavy.
Come on until a couple of hours in. There are definitely now puzzles or trying to find your way in and out and around dungeons.
Yeah, but I'm talking about at the start of the game. Forgetting when the puzzles come into it. At the start of the game, there's so many enemies and so much combat involved right in the start that you'd thought that it was a big part of the game. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, at the beginning it's not really puzzle focused or adventure focused at all. Really, I don't think at that point.
Yeah, no, it's, okay, and yeah, I mean, I haven't really got much else to say with it. I haven't played it long enough yet. I'm slightly worried that I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it more as I'm upgrading things and as I'm seeing more on the map and opening more things. One of the best things about it that we haven't mentioned so far is that as you play the game, you find these pages of an instruction manual of basically the map. So these pages you find, they basically explain how the game works. It's all written in a kind of made-up language, but it's got really gorgeous illustrations which you can zoom in. It looks like an old-school instruction manual that you'll find with the game. And the pages you find out of order. You find like 2 pages at a time, so you might find like page 10, page 12, page 14, and on the pages you find, it might say, or it might imply that actually page 16 is the one you need to see this part of the map or to learn more about this ability that you just gained or you're learning about. So the whole game, you're trying to piece together what the game is about, how to play the game, how to explore the game through picking up these really gorgeously beautifully designed instruction pages, instruction manual pages that you find across the game. So that for me has been the biggest joy so far. Like picking up finding a new page, an instruction manual. Not only because it might tell you more about the enemies, or might give you more detail about a map or how to navigate a dungeon, but just how well they're drawn and how nice they look.
How well they're drawn, the animation of the pages turning is great. All of that stuff it feels really nice.
It feels really authentic. It looks good.
I'm kind of surprised by this because I really thought that both of you would be like really. I mean, this to me, this had like TCGS 2022 Game of the Year written all over it. That's what this was going to be. And but yeah, maybe not. Maybe
Why?
Is it just because the combat is like not great?
No, wait, why? Why did you think we were all going to say it was Game of the Year?
Because it looks like the kind of game that we'd have as Game of the Year, doesn't it? We've had two of these
this is
2 years in a row.
James, you're not even. This is it. You don't trust us. Like, we know what we're talking about. We know when we like games or not. It's not just.
I know, and this looks like the kind of and this looks like the kind of game that you normally would like, David.
Right. Okay.
So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with making that? What do you mean that's weird? It looks like the kind of game that you normally like.
Right. Like what? Like, give me other examples.
What do you mean? Well, you like Zelda games, don't you?
Well, yeah, I didn't like the. Hold on. What do you mean? I like Zelda games, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying this is nothing like anything you've ever played before that you've enjoyed?
No, I'm just saying it's that I don't know how you can look at a screenshot of a game and go, "No, big Game of the Year." This is your problem with the Game of the Year this year. Like, you were so adamant that it was going to be that one that you actually got angry that it was a good game.
This looks like the kind of game that all of us would like. What's wrong with saying that?
Okay, I don't know.
Why are you so defensive about it?
I just find you weird. I don't know how you can have that opinion based on do you know what? Do you know why I'm getting it? It sounds like you're saying that it doesn't matter whether the game's good or not. You would just choose this sort of game because of the way it looks, right? That's how it comes across.
Well, that's not what I mean, Dave. I mean, I'm just saying it looks like the kind of game that we normally would nominate for Game of the Year.
You said Dave there. No, you very rarely say that unless you're winding me up. So I'm on to you, James Farley.
I'm going to keep playing it. It hasn't done enough to annoy me, and actually, like, turning on no fail mode just meant the combat moments flew past, and I could enjoy the exploration and the puzzles. So I'm definitely going to keep playing it. I mean, it's not a terribly long game anyway, and it's doing enough to keep me playing. I'm just not blown away by it so far, mostly because of some niggly issues and stuff I mentioned already. But I'll keep playing it for sure.
Okay. Another game that we've been playing this week. James, you've been playing this one. Far Changing Tides. Did you play this last week?
I did play it last week, but I didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And also, I played it the week before last as well, but I didn't talk about it because Matt and Sean were talking about it, and they played it a lot more than I had. So I didn't feel like much.
Have you finished it now?
I have finished it. Yeah, I finished it over the weekend. And,
so I think I'm like a third of the way through.
Oh, okay.
What did you think of it?
I mean, I first of all, I don't know why I can never remember the full name of this game. Like,
I know, I'm struggling with it as well.
Why is that? Why is it that it's just so unmemorable? Like, every time, like I have to Google like sequel to Far Lone Sales to try and remember what it is. It's just really strange. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, I mean, overall, I kind of echo mostly what Sean and Matt said about how they felt about it. I did generally really enjoyed it, and it is incredibly atmospheric. And I enjoyed the whole ship control aspect of it. In a very similar way to Far Lone Sales. But that's my only criticism about it. Really, is this really doesn't feel like a sequel to me. It feels more like a sort of just an extension of the first game. Like,
this is what's getting me. I mean, I'm a third of the way through. I don't think it's as good as the last one. And I think it is very, very similar as well. And I'm finding that quite tough to take. Because not only am I finding what it's asking you to do less intuitive, right? I've had to look up a few times and go, I don't even know what it's the game's asking me to do here. But I've also had like a few bugs here and there where I've had to do like resets of the game to continue. So, for example, there's a bit where you come across a crane and you lower the hook down, then you swim down, connect it to something which is blocking your path, and then swim back up and then raise the crane to move it out of the way, right? It just didn't work for me. I connected it, kept trying to raise it, wasn't working. I had to reboot the game to get that to work. And that's happened like 2 or 3 times in like the first like third of the game. And I'm like, fuck, man. Far Lone Sales was so good. I didn't even feel like that was I think I did that in 2 sittings because it was just so easy to sit there and play through, and I'm not getting that from this.
Yeah, and that's why this took me 3 weeks or so to finish, because I didn't feel compelled really to like play it. It felt to me, compared with the first one, this felt more like I'm trying to get through this rather than experience it. And that's what I didn't enjoy quite so much. Also, I didn't feel like one of the things that I really liked about Far Lone Sales was there often was that sort of sense of peril as well in it, like that things could go, were going really badly wrong or could go really badly wrong. I never got that from this at all.
Yeah, there's no peril at all. I mean, the only mild peril was like, can I get my ship going full peril or not? But that was basically it.
And it's just
I had a moment, James, where it made me think of Far Lone Sales, where those moments of, I wonder if I could brake just in time so I don't smash up my vehicle, you know. And you'd be like, trying to time the braking right. In this one, I just don't care. I just drive full pelt into the fucking
because it doesn't matter.
Blocking my path.
It generally doesn't matter. Because there's plenty of those repair things as well if you need to use them. I only used it about 2 or 3 times, I think, and I was smashing into things constantly, and it didn't seem to matter, at all. And it's just, I mean, as I said, I did enjoy it. I mean, I enjoyed like how atmospheric the whole thing was, but it just felt, I don't know, it just felt like a sort of a side story really to the first one. And I mean, obviously, I can't talk about the ending, but like it's really obvious, how that plays out, and that was also a bit disappointing, I thought. But
I'm looking forward to the ending because I've not worked it out yet. Should I have worked it out now? Or
no, not by a third of the way through, but it becomes clear.
It will become.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to finishing it. I'll finish it for sure because I really enjoyed the last one. I'm interested to see what this big thing is that happens at the end of this one. Like I said, it's not bad at all. It's really good. Like it's a good game. It's just not. I was expecting more. Put it that way. From this than basically it looks nicer,
what feels like
it looks way nicer than the last game did.
Maybe
it's got some really cool effects and.
See, I'm playing I played it on Switch though, and it doesn't look that good on Switch. Like honestly,
no, I bet not.
And also, there's like really quite nice slowdown and stuff.
I've got a question about it.
Why are you playing on Switch?
Sorry.
Oh, because it's just easier to play on that. Right.
Sorry, because I've only played the first one, and I've been intrigued by Changing Tides. Do you think, like, a majority of the reason why it's not as good is because the surprise and the wow factor has been done in the first game, and is probably not different enough in this one?
There could be a part of that, right? And I could see that being a point. But what I would say is that actually the stuff that the first game asks you to do, I think is better than what this game is asking you to do, and I think it actually shows you how to do those things in a better way as well. So although I think you can't ignore the fact that the element of surprise and the feeling of what you're doing to keep these machines going along is that's not new when you're playing the second one. But I do think comparing the old one to this one, actually the old one did things that this doesn't do and that maybe it should have, which is really odd. It's really strange that it feels like a step back, like it feels like it should have been the other way round. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
James, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Feels like this is the first game and then Far Lone Sales was the sequel to it.
See, and that's because it was like the first one. There felt like a real sort of like desperation, almost like to what you were doing. You're trying to get across. Trying to
put out the fires and that.
Yeah, but this doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like, I don't know. Yeah, not as engaging, I don't think.
Strange. Okay. I mean, sorry, Sean, you're going to be last because we do need to talk about Mario Kart 8 and the DLC tracks. James, you played these?
I have. I played them all over the weekend. And I played them with the whole family, on my own, with Asher. It was like,
I haven't done them on my own yet, but I'm sure... Like, right, okay, look, we've been calling out for Mario Kart 8 tracks for ages. We've finally got some. Is there part of you, like me, James, that's kind of like, I wish they all came at once?
Yeah, definitely.
Rather
especially
than just 2 cups.
Because you open it up and it's like, look at all these like new tracks, and it's like, I can't touch any of these. There's only 2 of them, and it's there's only like...
Or at least half and half, right?
Yeah.
At least like half of them now, and then half of them like next year or whatever. Because you do the 4 tracks and you're like... Okay, that was. I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are not great. Like I'm finding
The tour ones.
the
are
tour
not good.
ones
Yeah.
are actually quite a step down in quality, aren't they?
They're also, I mean,
mainly because there's bits where you just don't even know where you're supposed to be going.
Yeah, there's also that. I mean, the last one on the second cup, the one that's the like Japanese like inspired like one. I really dislike that track. It's one of those tracks where it also feels like even more randomly luck as to whether you're going to win or not. And I hate that. And that's the thing. Like, see, I spent the whole weekend playing this, and I got like golds on like 50cc, 100cc, and then like 150 on like all of the tracks or whatever. But it reminded me once I got up to like 150cc why like this game is so infuriating. Like still, and it's so good. Like it's such a good game. Like I love Mario Kart. Like and especially playing with other people, it's brilliant. Like it is my favorite racing game. But it is utter bullshit. Like it's ridiculous.
It is utter bullshit. Yeah,
and
totally.
it's like, especially when you're trying to get like those 3-star gold stuff, and it's just when you get to like 150cc or above, it's just luck. Like as to whether that's going to happen or not.
You're the idiot for thinking that it's ain't going to be any other way. That's the thing.
But it's annoying, isn't it? It's because you're all just thinking, I just need to stay ahead. If I get ahead, and it's like I've run this race really like perfectly the whole time, and then I've been hit with a whole load of blue shells right at the end, and I'm now 8th. It's just
the bullshit. The bullshit was even worse when like before it comes to Switch. Like with the Wii U version, I remember I needed one more Grand Prix in 150cc to get like gold, the gold trophy. And it just wasn't happening for me. The amount of times that I tried to get it in one of those tracks, I would get completely screwed by the computers.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to smash the fucking that little gamepad up. So they did tone it down a little bit for this, but it's still there.
It's
the
still
DNA's
infuriating, though, isn't it? It's just
you can
so
still
annoying.
find them. yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, no, I mean, the tracks. It's funny because when you play the GBA tracks or the N64 tracks in it, you're like, nah, this is still really, really good. But then when, like that Paris one, where it's like you hit a roundabout, there's like a roundabout in there.
Yeah.
And then it looks like there's a road leading off to the thing, but you go to drive down it, and then you're like, hold on, there are barriers.
Yeah.
And then you get dragged back onto the course again, and you're like, what? It's really not like a Mario Kart game.
And then also on the third run round on that track, how it then makes you go into traffic as well, which is just odd.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever happened before.
It is odd.
I don't remember it happening before.
Oh,
anyway.
no, of course it has, yeah? Not into traffic.
No, not like you get like ones where there's
You're
like
always
crossover
going with
and
traffic,
stuff,
aren't you?
but not into it like that. It's just weird. I mean, the track and also the other thing.
I like how they evolve each lap though. That's pretty cool. I didn't know they did that in Tour.
But the other thing that's funny is like when you play those like GBA ones, is you realise like how short they are as well, and like how basic. It's like it's over like really quickly, which is which is not a bad thing. But it's still fantastic. It's still Mario Kart, and playing it in like multiplayer, it was great playing with the family. Everyone was loving it. Like, and they were getting like proper competitive and everything. It was brilliant. But it's just playing it in single player is just madness, isn't it? Utter madness.
I love it so much.
Mm.
Love it so much. Okay, right, that's Mario Kart 8. And that's all I've been playing this week. So, James, you've been playing. Sean, have you got anything else for us?
Yes. So, Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin came out last Friday.
So this is the game that I've seen tons of clips for on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about this.
On Twitch, because it's insane, apparently.
Is this also the one that, like, when they showed it and it was really bad when they first showed it? Was this something different?
Bad.
It was like the demo they showed was broken and everything.
I remember the script being a bit, and that's what I consider bad. I don't remember. I didn't play the demo, but there was a demo out for this prior to launch, which I just kept away from playing. But this is the second longest name of game I've played this year. Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. It's if you followed the game since the announcement, you either think of one of two things: the term chaos being mentioned throughout. Like there is a bad guy or bad person called Chaos, and every second line that your protagonist talks about is, I must take down Chaos. Are you Chaos? I will fight you if you're Chaos. What is this? Are you what? And it's insane writing. Like I I'm all right with like kind of crazy, but the fact that it's just kind of one track minded was pretty crazy. Anyway, to jump into it, so Stranger of Paradise is it's a spin-off kind of Final Fantasy game. It's not part of the numbered Final Fantasy games. So this is the closest thing to 15 in regards to kind of mechanics and stuff like that. And yeah, it's kind of just kind of your kind of run-of-the-mill, I'm going to go into an area, kind of grind it a little bit, going to fight, going to adapt, change jobs, which I've taken on board from some of the other games. I think 14 did the jobs thing like big because it's online. But I've not really played a Final Fantasy game that had the jobs thing as a big thing. I've only played like 10 and 7. So jobs are your kind of class system. So you can be someone that is like sword and shield or mage, and you can change that mid-fight or, anytime you want. So your main protagonist, a guy called, I think it's Jack. You can kind of say, hey, good strong name. He's so run-of-the-mill. It's not even funny. Like, no word of a lie, I thought he was Marcus Phoenix, some of the gruffness that he was just coming across. He is just all about saying, well, if you can breathe, you can fight again at the end of every fight and stuff like that. And I'm like, come on.
True. It's true, though, isn't it? If you can breathe, then you can, yeah. It's
I've always said that.
But there's only so much bravado I can take in a video game without it just being Gears of War anyway. This game is a good sequel to Gears of War. But the interesting thing I didn't actually know about, because I didn't really follow it until I played the game, was there's a lot of influence from Dark Souls in there. The main point is there are different areas where you can kind of go to a rest point in between levels, and going to this place means that you can kind of access your menu, but it also resets the enemies in the area. So if you're playing for this game and you're like fighting these enemies and you want to be like, I want to save my checkpoint here, it also resets everything, just like in a From Software game, which is really cool. But I'm not sure if it's just doing it because From Software is doing that as well. There is also co-op in this game. So there is yourself and the 2 other AI people, so you can choose who you want to kind of bring on board with you. But you can open up your game to a lobby, which you can put a password on, or you can have matchmaking on. So you can be like, I want 2 of my friends to play the entirety of this game. You don't have to ever go back to a main menu. It can just be like, we're setting this up from the start. Every time we finish a mission, it's just everyone press ready up, and then we're going to the next thing. I didn't really get it to work because I didn't really have any friends that wanted to play this anyway, which is probably quite telling of this game. But it's fun. But playing this whilst playing Elden Ring was like, which one am I having more fun with combat-wise? And no word of a lie, when I unlocked a Ronin class, it literally became the kind of samurai with the Uchi Katana from Elden Ring. And I was like, I am doing the same unsheath kind of stance and then doing a charge attack. And it was at that point, I was streaming this, so you had one of the guys in your channel, Pozok, he came on board just to watch me play it. And I was like, yep, this feels like the samurai in Elden Ring. I'm going to switch what I'm playing. I played a good 3 hours. I'm like, I'm missing this game. Don't get me wrong. Stranger of Paradise.
It's like you've got a new best mate. Then you go out and see your old mates again, and you're like, I wonder what he's doing.
They're having a lot more fun. But it's fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're thinking of it, it's probably going to do what you want it to do. I mean, a lot of the combat is you're doing a move at the end which turns your enemies into crystals, and then you just kind of shatter it in various ways. You might turn some into crystals and punch it, or you might kick its head off, and it's all kind of fun and very camp and then very bravado. And I got about 4 hours into it, and I was like, I'm not ready for this game right now. It's fun, but Final Fantasy, I'm looking forward to 16. This is like the mid kind of game between 7 remake and then 16. So this kind of will fill the gap, but I'm not ready for it yet. Don't get me wrong, it's fun. It's probably amazing in co-op. And the Souls-like kind of influence with the bonfire thing is probably what it needs just to kind of spice up the just the mechanics. But yeah, it's all right.
This is the one that I've seen where loads of clips of just unintelligible nonsense has been said to each other. Like,
your main character, I think this is one of the main clips from one of the trailers or something, but your main character, Jack, he's so kind of hell-bent on taking down this thing called Chaos that he meets another character. She's like, Chaos doesn't actually exist. It was just me all along. It's just a folktale. And he's like, liar. And he just puts his music on, and then he walks out of this arena where everyone was just standing. And it's just so really weird. Like, a lot of the conversations don't really make sense. Like, when you isolate it, it's like people are talking for the sake of talking, and there is... And it...
It sounds like this podcast, to be fair.
and what doesn't help is it's like unnecessary amounts of help and kind of tip pop-up guides and stuff. Like, you walk up to the top of a ladder and you can kick the ladder down, like in a From Software game, for instance, to kind of make a shortcut. But then there's like 2 pop-up messages that come up saying, hey, so these are ladders. Did you know you can climb ladders, using your arms and legs, ascending and descending? That's how gravity works. Not exactly those things. And then the next pop-up is like, and if you kick the ladder, then it drops the ladder down and you can climb back up the ladder. And this is a shortcut. And I get it. You can onboard people who probably never played video games. But for us who play games, we don't need to be handheld that much. And a good half of my experience is being taught how to play a video game whilst playing this video game. And it didn't feel like it was a fun video game after a while. I said video game a lot. Yeah.
If you're getting tired, you can turn off the computer game and go and do something else for a bit if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're struggling to hear any of the audio from this game, then you have a remote and you can turn your TV up.
Do you know what? I'm not even gonna... It probably would have happened. Weirdly, they give you tips about how to fight bosses after you've lost to the boss as well. And it's like, don't tell me that, or tell me from the start. Don't...
I suppose that's when you need it, though, right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Okay,
I thought you were about to say they give you tips how to kill the boss after you've killed the boss.
Yeah, no,
that's what I was expecting.
Do you know what? That would probably take the mick. But yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's a solid game. Like I said, I'm probably being a bit too harsh on it because I just thought about Elden Ring, the beloved Elden Ring, the whole time.
Oh, mate, it's so bad, isn't it? And look, I know what it's like as well for the people that aren't interested in Elden Ring, because they've heard everyone bang on about it and it's really annoying and blah blah blah, Elden Ring, and now it's like every game we're playing, we're like, I'll play some more Elden Ring actually. Yeah. I don't want to play anything else.
Yeah,
this new Lego game out.
Sean, what's the combat like in Strangers of Paradise? Is it real time? Is it turn based?
Yeah, so it's all real time. Yeah, I mean, if it had the option to be turn-based, I mean, I probably would have given it more time, but...
So how does this combat compare to Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Ooh, so 7 Remake, you could queue up some stuff in, like, the pause... where you can pause stuff in real time.
Yeah, you use, like, the D-pad type thing to pre-assign moves.
There isn't that from what I've seen. Like, the only options you have to let your partners know to do something is... If you press left, which is associated with the partner that's associated to left on your D-pad, or right, you can basically tell them to kind of go into like an overdrive, like you're going to do a lot more damage, but there isn't really control over that. Like it's all right. I mean, there's a place for both 7's combat and Stranger of Paradise's combat kind of live separately and be applauded for how they do it. But even I love 7 and the remake of 7 just from the combat as well.
Yeah, combat was amazing.
It's pretty good. Interestingly, actually, the mage class in Stranger of Paradise, I think, is... I love playing any kind of classes that does magic really well, and there is just way too many buttons. Any game that has combat and way too many buttons in it is either you have to adapt the way you play, or you just get beaten. So... the amount of times I pressed the wrong buttons because of Elden Ring, for instance, was a bit weird. But like the mage class, like you have to hold down the right trigger to start your casting. And once you start your casting, there's like a wheel that appears that you can choose if you want to do magic, fire, water, or kind of rock. And you're kind of choosing that with the left stick. So bear in mind, the right stick is to kind of aim where you want it to go. The left stick is to aim at point in the direction of what type of spell you want to do. And all this is happening whilst you hold down the right trigger of charging the magic. And then to fire the magic, you release the right trigger. And it's just like one button too many to do something that feels like it should be simple. And
yeah, that sounds complicated to the point where actually it starts to detract from enjoyment if you're trying to have to remember the combination.
Yeah, and luckily for the game, there is like, I think 10 different types of kind of class or jobs, as they call it. So I always kept mage as my kind of long range, just something I would start a fight with, but there is no way you're going to be pressing all these buttons in the middle of a fight when the enemy's coming at you. So yeah, I my current build is kind of Ronin, kind of doing, sword and samurai kind of cool stuff, and then as soon as I hit triangle, it switches to the mage, and I kind of rely on my my comrades to kind of take the forefront of it. Like, again, not a bad game, just wrong time for me.
Yeah, after loving Final Fantasy VII Remake so much, I don't think, like, every time a Final Fantasy game comes out, I'm like, oh, maybe this one would also be for me. And I've seen all the videos, the dialogue looks stupid as hell, but yeah, there's always a nagging kind of something in the back of my brain saying maybe this will be good as well. But especially if the combat is a little bit more similar to Remake than a standard kind of turn-based one.
Get it when you're ready for it. I'll just put it as that, because it won't let you down if you already are expecting all of this craziness anyway. It is fun to play, but yeah, you just have to kind of relearn how to play the video game in their way, which is a lot of onboarding.
Cool. Yeah, I think I'll wait for things to calm down before I get into this.
Yep.
All right. Okay, that's what we've been playing this week. Should we get onto questions?
Let's. If you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. We've got Edward Nigma, who's back after a long break. Good evening to you all. I apologise for not being in contact, but I've been filming a documentary that you can now see in cinemas. Don't worry, it's not a riddle this time. Instead, it's a question. If you were a villain, what would you do to take down a hero? People often ask what a superhero power would be, but what would your supervillain power be? If the show's running long, we'll just skip James because he can't be bothered, and we'll call him the News Goblin, and his power would be to take people to his fantasy zone and give them false hope, leading to indefinite depression upon returning to the real world. Bye for now, your friend, Ed. I thought it was an interesting question because obviously everyone's like, hey, what would your superhero power be? But they never discuss what supervillain power would be. But typically,
but wouldn't it be the same?
Well, no, but like typically supervillains, it's often like what they're doing to the world or to the environment or to the planet. It's rarely about their. Well, if I'm thinking like mostly Batman movies, which is where my brain is right now. The villain is often doing things to the world or to the planet, to the city, rather than the fact they can fly.
Okay, so what would your answer be then?
Well, that's the thing. Like, this is basically saying what terrible event would you do to all the people in a city? That's basically what this question is.
Take down the hero. So I think it might be more specific to how you counter a hero rather than be evil to the world.
Yeah, just like tripwise.
Tripwise everywhere.
Just put tripwire, man. Yeah. And every time one of the heroes is running at me, they trip over, wouldn't they? That's what happens with heroes, isn't it? They run in a trip.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Easy. I can get away then, can't I? Or sticky floors. So that they run super glue. The super glue man, and I can super glue their shoes.
So you're basically the Home Alone method.
Yep.
Basically, marbles everywhere, paint cans from every doorway, micro machines as well downstairs.
Paint can. What's yours?
Well, I mean, for some reason, I can't not think about Batman when I think about this, and so it have to be stingers. Stingers on every road.
Stingers? What, like
stingers
in
every road?
Like the police camera action, Matt?
Yes, I'm thinking.
You've got your police camera action man.
I would just get a whole team of hoodlums, of foot soldiers who were basically throwing those stingers across every single road in New York City. So the hero, let's say Batman, can't drive his Batmobile anywhere near me, right?
If you ever want a good time, go onto YouTube and search Stinger Foul compilation, and it's just loads and loads of videos of police chucking stingers out in front of police cars. No. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the absolute best. James, what's yours? Dr. Farley sounds like a villain anyway, doesn't it?
I thought I got out of this because he's already said I can be really boring or whatever.
No, you haven't, no.
Oh.
What do you mean you could be really boring?
Well, no, he says I'm supposed to give people false hope and make people depressed and stuff.
All right, just give us an answer, though. Don't just use that as an out.
Oh, that's what I was going to do. I didn't think I'd have to come up. Now I've got to come up with something.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Sean, have you got a supervillain power?
Man, it's kind of almost similar, but I would say existential dread. Like, there's nothing worse than knowing that there's a bigger problem at play here. Like, could you imagine superheroes coming towards you? Like, are you sure what you're about to do is actually going to do what you think you can do? Like, the world is crumbling. Your oven is still on. What is?
Yeah, you have to gas
and
on.
I
right?
think that would ruin a lot more people's day than they give them dread. And you don't even have. It doesn't even have to be a power,
Yeah, it
does
really
it?
would,
Like we
wouldn't
do that to each other anyway, and to ourselves. Like imagine that on this scale of like a supervillain. Just like everyone just like can't deal with things. Bigger things are at play there. You have no one coming after you. It's fine.
Yeah, I think that's quite good. That's a good one. I approve of that one.
Yeah. You think I'm bad? I don't think. Did you lock the front door when you left this morning? I don't think you. Did you lock the back cave?
Oh no!
Is the oven still on? It's,
Did you pick up your kids?
Have you got your mask with you?
Yeah.
Oh, for fun! Checking your pockets and then running off. Yeah, good shout.
Nice one. Lars Hedderdam. Ahoy. As a kid, my schools would occasionally put on a week-long transformation of the school to a mini-city with banks, police, bakers, accountants, architects, and kids producing different products of questionable quality for the pupils to buy from each other and for the parent to come and buy at the end of the week. It was quite fun and all the scheme to teach kids about jobs, responsibility and capitalism. Instead of learning that, we tended to counterfeit money and put on heists and banks and shops. Which lessons from school or in life did you guys take the wrong message from Lars Hedderdam?
that's brilliant, though, isn't it? It's just like... It's like they've all got together and thought, actually, this is bullshit. Why don't we just steal?
Yeah, let's make this a fun city.
These kids heists. Oh my goodness.
I love that. We had like careers day where you had to like set up a shop in the school, and we did blow football because it was easy. You just got a little round bit of like I don't know these round balls and then a straw. We were like, go on, blow football. Do you remember that? You must have played. That's a COVID nightmare these days. Couldn't play.
Yeah,
you couldn't play
get away
blow
with that, could
football
you?
anymore.
So your shop sold straws and what? Ping pong
cotton balls. Yeah, that was it. We made fucking more money than anyone else, mate. Everyone wanted to play blow football back then. Right. Okay, so what lessons did we take? I'll never forget this one, right? I'll never forget this one. And it just... I didn't take the lesson away that they wanted me to take away. It just made me hate authority even more, right? So we were given a test. And they said, you're all getting this test. And you're being marked throughout. Please, read the questions, take your time with it. It's not a race to the end. Just, the teacher handed the test out and it had, say, 50 tasks on it. So one of them was like, the first one would be like, shout your name out as loud as you can. Run up to the front of the room and write your name on the board. Tap the table 3 times, all this sort of stuff. So I'm sitting there, I'm doing it. I'm going, what the fuck is this all about? Okay, tap table 3 times. Clap your hands twice. You get to the end, and the last one says, only do the first task. And the lesson was, make sure you read everything before you start steaming in with your answers. And I just thought, what a fucking shit lesson. Who's going to do that? Are you saying that when we get our GCSEs, we need to read the whole test exam, like the whole thing, before answering the first question? Because that's what you're essentially saying. It was it made me so angry. And I just thought, you're just trying to trick us. That's all that. What a waste of an hour. What a waste.
So that's saying what? Read all the instructions before you start building.
That was essentially what they were saying, yeah. Who the fuck does that?
No one does that.
What a shit lesson. Could you imagine getting a flat pack from IKEA and just, hold on, I'm reading it all first. Just in case the last one says, just do step 1. It's possible. We learned it at school. That was bullshit.
It's tough, isn't it?
That's
That's
what public school was like, James. What was private school like with these things?
I did not go to private school. This really annoys me because I did not.
Go on.
I'm trying to think of anything that I learned from school, honestly, that was like from this. It's like,
you've got a PhD.
No, I know exactly, but I didn't get that from school, did I? I got that from studying, and it's like, I'm trying to think of what I actually learned from school that was like actually useful, or I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't think of anything I took from school really.
No,
that was all like the social
rulers
side.
and pencils and stuff.
It was just, I mean, school was
thieving.
It was an irritation,
Post-it notes.
wasn't it? It was just mostly an irritation, school.
Well, yeah, it was just in the way, wasn't it? It was just in the way. Still, football at lunchtime, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Year 5 versus Year 6, let's go. I learned more from that than Pythagoras' theorem.
You weren't having a kick about, Sean? What were you doing in your break times?
Well, exactly the same as you guys. I think that if I can bend a rule with when this answer could be done, so not kid, but kind of like late teens, like early university. There's one thing that stuck with me. So I went to film school, so I did like film production, and we were making films and learning documentary and narrative and actors and directing, and then. We had a talk. We used to have like industry folks come in and kind of inspire us, and then an actor / director called Noel Clark, the actual guy himself who was in Kidulthood and stuff. He came in, gave a talk, and he's like, "Yeah, this is all great." And then at the end, he was like, "Yeah, you probably didn't have to go to university to get a job. Like I didn't have to do that. In fact, you're probably wasting your money." Paying to do this course right now, like just get out there and just make contacts and just do your dream. And I just remember my tutor like on stage was like, no, don't do what he just said, like we don't have to lose money and stuff like that. And Noel Clark was just so he just came in as like, yeah, you guys are wasting your time in university studying this. Do what I did, just flunk school and just get out there. I mean, he's a bit of a situation, we don't talk about Noel Clark as much anymore because of the news, but the fact that he came in and then told us we were wasting our time on our course and the next 4 years.
But this is it as well, right? This is it. This is what goes through my head. Is that right? We know that Noel Clark is problematic, and he's got history and stuff. That's why he's not being spoken about that much anymore. But you've been asked to go in and speak to Don't be a fucking prick about it. Do you know what I mean? Like honestly, one of the teachers. If I was one of the teachers, I'd take Noel. Can you sit down? Right? You could have just said no. You didn't want to do this. Like you could have just not come here. That would have been fine.
You don't come
Why
in
have you come here and just been a
off.
prick? In front of it, just completely tried to mug us off in front of it. And what? Because you want the kids to like you? Is that it, Noel? Is that what you're after?
You want to be cool.
The kids to like you?
Exactly.
Yeah, you cool? Is this cool? Is that cool? Actually, that don't really work when a teacher's doing that because, generally you just laugh at the teacher, wouldn't you? Yeah, shit. It's no win situation for that teacher, isn't it? I could really bollock him, but then I would be a teacher. I'd be standard teacher.
Or supply teacher. The coolest of teachers.
Yeah. I told you what we used to do to our French teacher, right? We were in this little hut thing that had no windows, right? Had no windows in this fucking classroom, right? Well, it just meant that every time she was writing her French words up on the French board, on the whiteboard, we used to sneak underneath the desk and get to the light switch and turn it off, and the room would be in pitch black. Like, it's just pitch black. She wouldn't have a clue, did it? Yeah, she did not like taking that class.
There was loads of stuff like that in our school. It was awful. Yeah.
What was the worst thing a student's done to you when you've been in a university, James?
They don't, because it's university. They're paying like a huge amount of money to be there.
Come on, like they don't call you a knobhead and all that sort of stuff. Yes, they do.
They don't.
Don't lie.
No, these aren't like kids in year 9.
No, it's just that they're like in their 20s, most of them.
Yeah, definitely though. Think you're a knob.
I'm sure they do, but it's fine.
Yeah. That's the difference, James. You haven't caught them.
Okay.
You haven't noticed that they've put a knobhead sign on your back. Could you imagine if I went to university and I'm going, come on guys, let's prank the teacher. They're going, no, I'm trying to, I need this. I need
24
this
grand a
for
year
my
doing
career.
this. I'm not going to call anyone a knob.
Come on, what are you, a bunch of boffins? Come on. Look, I've got some flour and some water balloons. Let's go get Mr. Farley. Dr. Farley, whatever. He's a knob.
Thanks, Dave.
I want to go to university. Sounds fun.
Well, it's not like that, though.
That's the thing. It's totally not like school. Yeah.
Yeah, but no one's getting their shirt signed.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm saying.
You don't do the shirt signing at university?
No, you just get a big check at the end.
What's the fucking point?
I owe you this month. No,
Yeah, big check at the end.
That's maybe my university.
The opposite.
No, the university gets the big check.
Gets the big check. You're left with debt, sorry.
Oh yeah, debt. Yeah, that's right. I'm kind of glad I didn't go. Right, okay. Next.
Yeah, so Maria Mendieta, dear TCGS Coral Painters, you mentioned the way an obtuse game world like the one in Elden Ring makes game FAQs a must. Based on the sheer number of attempts and strategies involved, beating any From Software title qualifies the player to write a guide for it. On that note, for which video game do you feel you would confidently be able to write a guide? Keep up the terrific work. Sincerely, Maria.
Good question. I want to know from James.
Do you know, I've got one for this actually. I think I would choose Transbot on the Master System.
Why? What's Transbot? I've never heard of this.
It's terrible, like shooting game. It's like I bought it. It was this was the first game that I bought with my own money, like when I was a kid, and it was.
Oh, I remember this. Yes, yeah, I've seen this.
It was like a tenner.
I've seen this.
You know, it was like it was £10, and I bought it because there was a robot on the cover, and it looked like it could be good, but it was a terrible game. And the reason I could write a guide for it is because there's only 2 levels, and all you have to do is just like shoot stuff and just choose F-type weapon, and you're good. That's it. Just do that and then run through it over and over again with the same music playing over and over again, and then try and trade it with your friends, but they don't want to trade with you because it's terrible. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. Mine would be Threes. I think because that's the game that I've played the most. I mean, in my life, I don't think I've ever put in a more time than in anything than I have of Threes. In fact, actually, I tell you what, it's been a while. Let me go and find out how many games of Threes I've played. And remember, it
so
counts
you're still
up.
playing that every single day, are you?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Man.
It counts up, and it's just started. So 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and I'm just going to leave it there until it's fully worked out how many games of Threes I've played.
The mobile game I was obsessed with and played every single day and played multiple games every single day for years and years was disc driving.
Disc
on
driving,
iOS,
yeah,
but I managed to stop. I was in leagues and everything with like.
Yeah, but then they brought out disc driving too, and it was rubbish.
It ruined it, didn't it? It was like not like
completely ruined it.
And then and then I pulled out the leagues and had to focus on life. But I mean, disc driving would definitely be a game I'd be able to write a guide for. I mean, I haven't played it for some time now, but I don't think it'll take too long to get back in the swing of things. Sometimes I think I should get back into that. I bloody love disc driving so much on iOS. It's basically like you have these discs, you flick around the little tracks where there's jumps, there's power ups. Yeah, what a game that was.
The league used to get too serious for my liking. Oh. It used to really wind me up after a while. People used to get really serious. It was very serious
league. There were multiple kind of divisions. We had a WhatsApp group. Absolutely brilliant.
Does the original one still exist, or have they been delisted?
No, the original one still, last one I checked, still worked on iOS. But they released the second one. It wasn't as good, and it had less features, and it was just a bit of a mess. But basically, the 3 games would be disc driving on iOS, Sega Rally, obviously on Saturn, or Putt and Putter on Master System, which is a game that me and my sister played when we were young, about 1 million hours. So that Putt and Putter as well.
About 1 million hours.
We played a long time. That needs to get remade. So that was basically a mixture between Crazy Golf, or it was more like pitch and putt. Really, there wasn't really like crazy like windmills and stuff on the course, but across between pitch and putt or putting and pinball. With like pinball flippers, pinball bouncers around the course. That was such a good game. Yeah, I'll be
working out how many days 1 million hours is. So you played that for 41,666 days, have you, Matt?
Give or take.
And you were digging me out about my 25 times a complete in Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, you're full of shit, mate.
Well, one of us was exaggerating. The other one,
you're full of shit,
was apparently telling the truth.
Also, I've played the mobile game Threes 34,626 times. That's too much, isn't it? That's too much, that.
How long would an average game of Threes take?
I have no idea. Don't know.
5 minutes? 10 minutes?
Probably 5 minutes, maybe.
Let's do some maths.
You didn't know where to go for that, did you?
No, I wasn't going to work out 34,000 times 5 on the podcast.
Okay, right.
Who's next?
Sure. it's going to be a cop out. I'll probably say something like Overwatch, because I've played a lot of Overwatch or any kind of games or service games. I feel like I can speak to a lot of the characters and just kind of techniques and stuff, whatever, but I'm sure there's probably good coaches out there who's good for about team building and stuff, but I know my way around Overwatch with most of the characters. And
what's the latest with number 2?
There's a closed alpha coming soon.
Actually happening,
very soon.
Yeah, it's split between something like PvE and PvP and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a boat of, do I want to buy the sequel if it's just got an additional PvE point? I don't know. But the current game, I would play it.
It does feel like that franchise is kind of a little bit. I don't know. Like if you'd have said like 3 years ago, Overwatch 2 is coming, but I think people would have gone absolutely ballistic. But now, Overwatch 2, is coming. I think everyone goes, but now it's just, I don't know. I don't see the buzz.
Maybe
for it.
If it was a
weird.
completely different game that wasn't so tied to the original, so anyone that buys Overwatch 2 and anyone that owns Overwatch 1, they can play against each other in the multiplayer because, you're not dividing the player base. But if they were to do, a standalone separate game, like, I guess Call of Duty has a new game every year, or used to be every year, and everyone jumped on that, then that would probably be more hype. But I know my hype was kind of quenched when I can just play the current version I've got against people who've got the sequel. So it's not like it doesn't feel like a sequel so much. It's just more, here is a bit more and pay full price. So I don't know really. Yeah. But that'll be answer.
David, I've done some maths. If you play 34,000 games of threes and each one is on average about 5 minutes long, that's 170,000 minutes, which in hours is 2,833 hours.
Is that a lot, or was he slacking? I don't know.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It's quite a bit, isn't it?
That's a lot when you think, I'll put 500 hours into Destiny or 200 into Destiny. You put almost 3,000 on top of you.
Okay.
It's quite a lot, isn't it?
I think it's all just letting that sink in. That's all. That's all.
And that's it for questions this month, or this week even.
Hey, well, we come to the end of the show. Matt, do you want to do socials?
Yeah, the big one is there are more TCGSCON tickets on sale this Friday morning. That's Friday, 25th of March, 9 a.m. tcgs.co/TCGSCon. Go there. If you missed out first time round, there's some more tickets available, and this is the last extra batch we can add, so get there and don't miss out. And streaming this Thursday, Sean is back for Nuzlocke, Stock, and 2 Slow King Barbaracles. That's twitch.tv/TCGSCO, Thursday night from 9, Friday night from 9. James is still playing House of Ashes, but James, you said you're near the end now, is that correct?
Yeah, I think I'll finish it on Friday. That's my plan.
That is going to end... are you going to end with a bang? With some couple of drinks?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I bought it, so I might as well finish it.
Ending with a bang, are we, James?
What does that mean?
You're going to bang, are you? Go on.
Yes. So Dark Horse also on Friday. We're up to Dark Horse 36. This is basically the episode where James beats Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. So don't miss that. That's Friday morning on the Dark Horse feed. Just search it on your podcast player of choice.
Farley, completing Dark Souls, no less.
Was that the one I did over your house?
You did it over my house, mate. Yeah.
You did it. Suspended over the roof.
Yeah. In a little perspex box.
David playing her.
Yeah. You really went out with a bang. Go on.
So you've got Twitch Prime Gaming, you've got Amazon, in fact, you've got Twitch Prime Gaming. Connect your 2 accounts and you can give us your free monthly sub. We really appreciate that. If you're buying Epic Game Store games, either on console or PC, enter the creator code TCGS. We mentioned Patreon at the beginning, but patreon.com/TCGS for exclusive podcasts, live talk servers and other stuff. And TCGSCO is a website for links to our socials, our podcasts, our beautiful Discord, and our store. And also Friday morning, more TCGSCon tickets.
Sean.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, we were honoured that you wanted to come back after experiencing a show without me. Where do you want to send our listeners? How can they find you?
So I'm on Twitter at Sean Labode, so that's SeanLabode. But the fun actually continues every weekday on my Twitch channel, which is Extreme Matt, which is XTREMEMAT. Which about 6 p.m. GMT. Well, GMT starts this weekend, doesn't it? Because of daylight savings. But from about 6 p.m., I usually stream for about 2 hours, either some Elden Ring or just something that the community want to kind of see me play. It's the brand I've built is safe games. Tough games in a safe space. So, I do allow backseat gaming. We can chat about politics, you name it. We just want to have the best time that we can have. And it's been fantastic. I've done some 24-hour streams. In fact, I think, James, you came by on the last one that I did in the morning when I was playing Sifu. We actually was talking about Sifu and I was saying, Master. And then James is like, he follows you, and he just started saying, you actually typed on your keyboard, actually, how to say it properly. And it was hilarious. The first hour of a 24-hour stream was already hilarious. But yes, we have a lot of fun every weekday if I can help it due to work. So come by, swing by. It's a good time.
You're aware that we've got a Twitch channel, right?
Oh yes.
And you've decided to plug yours in direct competition with us, and you've decided to plug yours. That's a bit out of order, don't you think?
We don't stream at the same time, I believe.
Still, we're all after those Amazon Prime subs, aren't we? So, I hope you're happy with yourself. The way you've gone around your marketing has been disgraceful. Thank you so much for living it, everyone. We will catch you next week. We love you all. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.